Okay. Don't. Okay. Don't. Okay. Don't. Okay. Don't. Okay. Don't. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Just checking out some things before we start. Hi, Disney. Test, test. Test. All right, Toad, say something. Oh, hi-yo. I'm getting an echo here. Hmm.
I don't know, does it? I don't know, does it? I don't know, does it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting an echo on the other end. I'm still trying to fix my sound. All right, let's see if this works. All right, try it now. All right, try it now.
Oh, okay. Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Don't know about, huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still having issues right here right now. Yeah, I'm still having issues right here right now. Yeah, I'm still having issues right here right now. What the heck is going on? Wait a minute. Hang on. All right, let's see if the echo is still here. All right, let's see if
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, yo. Testing.
yeah, it's still there. Just to let everybody know, I haven't changed anything much on this at all, and yet I'm having issues with this. No, you didn't break it. Oh no. um let's see if this works. Oh, did we solve it? We might have. Can you guys hear Toad? Is there an echo here too? Okay, let me see. I don't think you're coming across at all. I don't think so. Hang on. You're only hearing me, no echo. Okay.
I guess you turned me off, is what happened, or something.
How about now?
Hello.
I think the reason why I was hearing an echo of me was because I still had Twitch on. I was looking at the stream. So.
Oh, okay. I think I heard me.
No echo? Can you hear Toad? To the chat, can you hear Toad? Yeah, on your end.
All right, awesome. Hey, you guys. So happy to be here.
Okay, let me go ahead and fix his settings real quick. Because we've been trying to get this fixed up for a little bit now. And
yeah, we've been in an hour. We're in a Discord call. We're like hitting an hour right now.
Loud and clear? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and see if I can get the music up real quick. Did we hear the music? Ribbit? Yes. Okay. Awesome!
Hey, Lemmy!
Okay, let's
A
go
good
ahead.
old friend Lemmy here.
Let's go ahead and get started then.
Hey, you guys. To those of you who don't know me, I go by Toad, full username Toad7, and Trixie was gracious enough to host my sort of podcast thing because Discord stuff still wasn't working out for me. So I'm here to talk about video games, just to have a little relaxing chat with my new friend Trixie, and I'm very happy that she allowed me to borrow her platform for a little bit. Not gonna do it often because I already feel bad kind of using her thing.
Don't feel bad
but
at
she's
all.
such a cool friend that she doesn't mind anyway. So, hey, AO, welcome. Thank you guys for joining. And this is normally where I would say welcome to the Allison Podcast, but first off, I can't really get that in order, and second off, this is in my show apparently, or technically. But otherwise, we kind of wanted to go into a topic about, or at least it was my idea, but I just found it was a nice idea to do because we were talking. We had unique stories recently about retro games and stuff, and how it would seem like a boring topic, but it's actually not. Just like retro game marketing and stuff, and like how it's handled these days, and like what contributes to its success and its failure. So yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about, among other things. Like it's not the only thing that we're going to be talking about because I don't want to just stay on a fixed outline. But the main thing that I wanted to focus on was talking about just retro games and like the current economy, and it sounds boring when I say economy. I'm trying not to use the word economy because it sounds boring. It sounds like finances. But no, it's actually really interesting to think about it because there's just so many, like, you wonder why stuff is like this much money, if you like study into it, you're like, oh wow, that's why that's so much, And I've seen like consistencies of like, yeah, that is exactly why it's that much. It's because it's hard to find. It's because it's not reproduced. But anyway, I'll let Trixie do some talking for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was messing with the lighting on my end. That's why I'm all going out of
No worries.
sync. But yeah, we're here today to talk about some of the things that we loved growing up. What does it mean about right now in the scene? What does retro actually mean in terms of actually talking about it and moving forward with what we have right now? And I've actually had some experience recently with the retro game market within the last 4 weeks. Hands-on personal experience actually for myself. So I'm looking forward to talking about that too. But yeah, today I'm excited to be here with Toad, like he was saying before, and we were gonna do the podcast thing, but I just said, why don't we just stream it and actually get a little bit more out of it for people? So everybody who wants to come from his podcast is welcome is here as well. So, and
absolutely.
I have fun talking about this stuff because I usually talk about it with my other friends who stream as well. So those of you who have actually seen us talk about it and want to go more in depth about it, those of you who have questions about it are welcome to talk about it as well. So yeah, I figured why not? So anyways, it's the panda, yes, the yin.
Sweet old panda.
Yes. But I just thought maybe we get started with some basics real quick. So who first?
How we want to start this?
First off, I want to see how people feel about the retro scene right now personally.
Let's ask you guys first. Let's make y'all a little bit a part of this. What do you feel like about the retro? Like, what? How about this? While we get some like feedback and whatnot, if you guys are interested in like going some, oh, this is how I feel about retro games, or this is my experience with it, or some stuff that you've like seen recently with like retro game stores that still exist and are still thriving, by the way. There's a lot of them out there. But let's talk about what exactly retro is. So we're not going by strict dictionary definitions, but the definition of retro gaming is really just based off of like the past. Retro is like the real word for retro is just like going backwards, going to the past. So honestly, most people know when you say retro, it used to be a thing, particularly like in the 90s and the 2000s, where people would say retro, and it wasn't really referred to gaming. It was just a thing that people would use to throw back things. I've heard the dialogue in cartoons before where someone said, oh, that's so retro, but they weren't referring to video games. They were referring to like it's a period of time where people used to do certain things a certain way and it was trendy and hip at the time.
Yeah.
But honestly, these days, it's more of a term where people use. When someone says retro, everybody immediately thinks of video games. And there's a reason for that. It's because retro video games are just basically anything like before this time of gaming that we're in right now with PS5, Xbox One, Switch. Anything before that time, even like a couple generations ago, can be considered retro. And there was a thing I saw about it recently that I'll talk about later, but basically it's like NES, Atari, arcade, even up to like Nintendo GameCube, PS2, Xbox 360, which is honestly, I read about it recently. It's kind of interesting. There's kind of a subgenre for that, for like Xbox and PlayStation 2 and like GameCube. I think it's called sub retro or something. I saw recently because I was looking up like retro game stores in my area, and they called it retro and sub retro, I think. But it was referring to like that 2000s era of like GameCube and PlayStation and stuff. I thought that was really interesting that they had like a little subgenre for it. Which, yeah, it's like basically anything that before this time is considered retro, and everyone knows that when you say retro, it's referred to a video game. And it's interesting where the economy is with that now, because obviously people don't like always resell that kind of stuff.
Well, it all depends too. Sometimes people who hear the word retro, they're also thinking of like the definition of retro is so much as trying to imitate the past. So like some people actually say, oh, that person is trying to be retro. They're trying to imitate something that's from the past to now. But the video game groups have just kind of said, no, retro games in general is you're going back to the past and interacting with that right now. So much as retro is you're trying to imitate something. But in other terms, definitions can change, and that's what's going on right now, is we're actually seeing a change in wording and definition.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, other words such as cool and whatnot, cool used to be cold. And now it's like, oh, you look pretty nice, or you look pretty, or you're awesome, or something like that. Words change over time, so depending where you come from and what you know about a word, it can change. So that's why, yeah, oldies but goodies. That's why when people hear something and they're like, wait, what does that mean? So like, for instance, a name people probably know right now called boomer. Boomer used to be kind of like a big huge boom in things. Just the word boom means explosion of popularity. And boomer,
like a baby boomer. It was like even in like the old like in the 1900s there was the term baby boomer.
Yep.
You know, and obviously back then there was no meme culture at all. It was like a thing that happened like when there was like a big surge and explosion of things.
Yep, that's exactly what it was about. Now it's used in different terms and different definitions. And people, when they hear the word boomer, it can be very derogatory or cringe, or it can be taken aback. So like the other day I didn't understand a word and a fellow Red Panda said, oh, you're a boomer. And I was like, what? I don't understand. And she's
you
just
have
like,
fellow Red Pandas?
There is a community of fellow Red Pandas, yes.
Oh, I have to hear about this. I gotta meet these girls or guys.
We're a community, so we're girls, guys, and some of us probably don't identify as either. So, you know,
which is hog.
Yeah, I mean, let me see. Right now we have, out of the community of Red Pandas, I want to say 2 right now, including myself, so that would be 3, are kind of streaming right now at this second that I can see. That's just who I'm following right now. But there may be more.
That's interesting to know.
So.
But back to the topic at hand.
Yes, back to the topic at hand. Hi, Mom. Nice to see you.
Oh, hello, LMA. Nice to see you.
You only know 2 red pandas, me and Kieran. Well, there's other red pandas right now I see called Louie the Human and Skywarp Otaku. They're also red pandas, and they have a much bigger following right now. Other people watch them. So if you're ever interested in finding more red pandas, they're there too. Speaking of that, before we go back, Red Panda Day is this Saturday. So if you're interested in looking that up, you can find it on Twitter as well. So.
Cute. Oh, I wish I was an artist or something, so I could like you just like draw you as like a real like red panda. Because I talked about it before. I think it'd be cute to see you as like an actual like red panda, but with like a cartoony expression and whatnot.
I have had other artists kind of, depict me like a red panda, like an actual kind of thing.
You have to show me sometime. I would absolutely love it.
They actually took my original concept design and actually slapped the Pokemon Snuffle, I think it was, and actually made it like a Trixie Snuffle.
I've never heard of that Pokemon, but it does sound
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it was adorable. In fact, if you
Hmm.
I probably have it here. If you give me a second, I'll show you. Um,
I'm actually not.
but we
I
can
can't even get into
continue.
the stream right now. Yeah.
We can continue talking while we find that image. So
Okay, I think I can actually get into the stream now. I've mostly been in chat. Okay. So yeah, we talked about what a retro game is, and chat has not offered any stories of their own. So I guess what I can do is I can just start with like what kind of has got me thinking about it a little bit more. So
yeah, go ahead.
I'd say the biggest trigger of it for me recently that's got me thinking about it, researching it, and a whole lot more is the Amiibo market. And whenever you say that, instantly high prices come to mind, and gamer rage can ensue whenever you mention the word Amiibo, just because of how ridiculous the market is. But yeah, it's like I've been buying a lot of Amiibos. Or not too many. I've bought like at least like two based off the Monster Hunter stuff. But it's just like because of like the main problem with Amiibos is just the common practice, the common financial knowledge of just supply and demand. And on top of that, the demand isn't met as much because too many people are buying them that aren't actually interested in them, and we call that scalping. And we know that exists. We know it's a thing, and I don't want to rant on it, as Trixie knows I am able to do.
Yes.
but but yeah, it's just a thing of supply and demand. Too many people, too many of the wrong type of people buy it out, and because of that, it's kind of a different supply and demand kind of problem, where there's not enough supply to meet the demands of people who are looking for amiibos and stuff. And honestly, one of the biggest factors of why they're so rare is because they do it for a little bit, and then like literally like 2 or 3 months later there's no more ever. They never make them again. And it's ridiculous if you think about it, because you think about so many companies who make figurines, they make stuff and they always make stuff, or at least for at least a year or so they make the thing and they make it for a really long time. But with amiibos, it's like if you don't buy this within 3 months, you're never going to get it again at a reasonable price. And that's what's got me thinking about prices and stuff recently, because I've been searching Google, shopping, eBay, Amazon, blah, 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 all those kind of retailers. And I've been looking up like amiibos that I am actually interested in, but they're not like available at the market. You find off eBay, you can find some on Amazon. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's just like the really crazy ones, like our friend Zonic has talked about before, like the Poochie amiibo. That thing, um, he was talking about it on his stream about one of the amiibos that was very expensive. I'm gonna retaliate with that and saying I looked up the one you were talking about, and it is now worth more than what it was when I looked up it when you were talking about it. And it's like, holy crap! Can you actually sell this for that much?
You
And it's like, yeah,
can.
because they were so scarce.
Well,
And
it also
it's like
depends. Before you move on,
yeah, no worries.
I actually saw that Poochie emote today. I went to go to the retro store to actually get my Switch fixed from its drift. And while I was there, I was looking at their amiibos, and they had the Poochie actual amiibo there. And from what I saw, it was being sold for about over $100. And I've actually talked to him about it, and I said, hey, why are your prices so lower than online? And it's just out of control right now because the actual sellers who are selling it, they're trying to keep things at a reasonable price and not get it overblown, because the actual prices for these things are just word of mouth. They're not the actual market price.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's like For instance, I actually got lucky. I was looking at their games while I was looking besides the Poochie emote, and I saw Xenogears Saga 2. And I recently bought that game for about, I want to say $60. But they were
That's
selling
decent.
they were selling it for $129.99. And I asked them, why did I get that for $69 at your other store? And they kind of looked at me with their eyes huge, and they just said, "Excuse me." I was like, "Yeah, I got it for $60 instead of the price you want."
Oh.
And they said that shouldn't have happened at all. You actually got lucky because there's a scarcity on it. So the physical demand copy for this thing is very, very high. And it's not available for everybody to take. So you actually lucked out.
No, that is incredibly fortunate.
Yeah.
I was just and that's the thing that I should say, like, define a little bit more. Like, that's the reason that the Amiibo market and a lot of the retro market, which I'll talk about later, is in like, there's a high, like, price value for it, and it's just like, it's scarcity of it, because it's either it's something that wasn't very popular, something that was just had such a small sale window that you didn't really see much of it. Commercial success and whatnot. Like, obviously with the Yoshi's Woolly Worlds kind of stuff, it was kind of cute, but it was, at the same time, it was like a game that wasn't really, like, stellar. And it was
Exactly.
because of that, I believe that's the reason why it was like. But the word of mouth thing is interesting, because I don't remember if it was you, Trixie, or Matthew, or Zonic. It was one of you guys. You were talking about how it was because of YouTubers or something that
Yes.
the value of it is blown completely out of proportion, because people just go out there and they use their platform in a very not good way to promote the value, just by their own either manipulation or just putting it out there just because they think it's right, without, like, actually checking. Because of that, people end up selling their stuff for a whole lot more. So you got to be careful about, like, where you're actually getting your stuff from.
Exactly.
You have to, like she said, you got to talk to people about, like, people who are, like, into the market, and, like, they do that for a living. Particularly these people who own retro game stores. They know, because they sell the stuff. They know exactly how much it's worth, or they should know, because it's their job, and they're making a living out of it. But yeah, I've seen Amiibos that go into, like, the $200 to even $300 price range.
Exactly.
And one particularly one that this one could be one that is actually, like, this is a legitimate reason for this to be rare and how much price it is. But if any of you guys know the old 3DS download only game, Box Boy, we did not get any Amiibos in the US for the game Box Boy, but in Japan they sold a box with I think it's a download code, or it might be a physical copy. I haven't really looked into it, but you get, like, this nice, like, really nice box, and it comes with the character, the protagonist from the game, whose name is QB. And because it was a Japanese exclusive thing, obviously people over here didn't really get it, but it is actually completely functional with the game, with, I think, all the Box Boy games, because there was, like, a trilogy of them on the 3DS. And because of the exclusivity of it only being in Japan, and probably because the game was, like, very under the radar, even though it was made by HAL Laboratory, which, as a lot of you know, is the Kirby developers, it was kind of a smaller game, and it's not, like, widely seen. So because of the exclusivity of it, because of how smaller the game was compared to, like, Kirby, that Amiibo I've seen can go anything from $150 to $250, probably $150 for, like, an unboxed one, and, like, up to like the 200s and beyond for the boxed, just
Yeah.
because it was such a rarity. And it's incredible to think about, but that one has like actual logical factors into it, like how exclusive it was and how available it is to some people. So
Speaking
yeah,
of,
yeah, go ahead.
you mentioned the box. The box is now these days. It's become a little bit more vague. By that, you know how when you sell, like for instance, the cover of a book, if it doesn't have like the dust binder on it, it becomes a little bit less worth. It's kind of like that here, but
Yeah.
if it's not sealed or whatnot, that also varies in price. But I have noticed something different. If you don't have the box, that affects it by like about 10%. But if you do have the box, that can vary in price as well, depending if it's unsealed or not. So,
and it also really does depend on the item in the box itself, you know? Like sometimes the box itself can actually increase how much you're getting off of your thing by at least like $50, and that is not a joke. Like there are actual collectibles out there. If you find something in the box, you have found an exclusive mint condition item that is worth a lot of money compared to it just being out of it. And it's really surprising. It's something I've thought about my whole life since I've watched a lot of collector's shows, but it's something that I should have discussed like off the bat. Like, yeah, the box. You guys know that if you keep something in the box and it increases in value, it's kind of like a stock, honestly. You know, you never know how much worth it's going to be later on. Like, if you told me that GameCube games were going to be up to like $100, which I'll talk about that later, it would have blown my mind. Like, I don't even own those games anymore. If I still had those, I wouldn't sell them, obviously, because of treasured memories and whatnot. But
yeah.
just you never know how much stuff is just going to blow up in value because of their scarcity and whatnot. And even something as a box and the condition of an item can like increase its value by way more just because of how nice it is and how much of a kind of a relic it is to the past, you know. We got a red panda in the chat.
We do. I'm just letting them know that I see them. Didn't want to interrupt you at all, but yes. That's usually how it goes. If you have the box, it makes it that much of a difference. Like, example, retro game. I traded in Dragon Quest V, the Heavenly Bride.
Here comes a story.
Yeah, I traded that in, and I traded in the Micro Mini Game Boy Advance, and both those things are rare, and I never thought they were. So when I traded them in, I got I think I got about $250 for both of those alone. I go back to the store.
Isn't it more than that?
It was a little. That was just for those items alone.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now.
And I go back to the store, and I find the micro there. It's going for about $225. And they can range, if you have the box and whatnot for the micros, about $300 to $400 by themselves.
Yeah.
If you have, like for instance, my game that I traded in, Dragon Quest V, which interesting fact, if we're listening to Dragon Quest V music right now. But,
I can't talk because I'm not even listening to the stream. I don't want to cause the echo and whatnot. But
that's fine.
Nice.
We're just listening to Dragon Quest music. What I found was they took my loose cartridge, they put it in their own cartridge, they put it in their own box, and they upsold it to $250.
Oh.
Yeah.
That I don't think I heard that part. The people you sold it to?
Yep, the people I sold it to, they gave me about $100+ for it, and then they put it in their own box, their own case. And
so here before you go on, I just want to. So they took the game and they, you know how people like print out their own little like game sleeves and like the covers and not, and they slap it in like a plastic box. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
And they sold it like that
It's still being
for
sold.
more.
It's
Oh
still
my
being sold for more right now. Yeah.
god! Oh my god! You cannot get more swindling than that. Oh my gosh, dude.
Well,
No, that is
they
crazy.
can charge whatever they want for it because they're this brick and
I
mortar
mean,
store.
yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, but it's reasonable that they sold it for more than what
but
they paid you for it. That's how marketing works.
I'll tell you why they have it at that price though.
Mm.
Because nobody else has it.
Yeah.
No other retro game near us or anywhere probably for the next 25, 50 miles. This is including everywhere around us. Nobody has that game. So they're all looking for
Crazy.
it. So it's like they have it at that price because they know they could probably get it for that price. And I've heard people talk about, behind my back when I'm in that store, about wanting the micro and wanting certain games that are up that for that price, but they just can't afford it. I mean, I had somebody walk in behind me and say they wanted a certain Pokemon game that was probably for the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy in general.
There's like a random customer.
Yeah, and they spent close to $700 just for that stuff alone.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I don't
see. Here's what I want to put in for you guys. Don't do this stuff. Like, this is a thing that collectors do. They take these kind of things and they're like, it's like a relic. It's not because they want to play a game.
Nope.
It's because they want to collect a piece of history, or they really are passionate about whatever topic. Like, for instance, I would maybe think about getting Dragon Quest V, an actual physical copy of it, because I'm a big Dragon Quest fan. Dragon Quest V has a good place in my heart, and I'm very passionate about the series. I would want to do that. And also, because I like the series so much, I would want to have like a cool physical copy of the DS game, because it expresses my pride and and I like to collect. I currently am in a position where I can't collect much, but I would want to have that kind of collection and say, oh, look at this. I have the copy of Dragon Quest V. Not out of pride, but because my own pride, like my ego or whatever, but because I like Dragon Quest. So I'm like, yo, I got this copy of Dragon Quest V. Check it out. And, it's like, oh, cool. Wow. But here's the thing. If you guys want to play a game, do not do it like that. Do not spend over $100 on a game just because you want to play it. There are a lot of other ways to do that, and a lot of people know the ways that exist, and the ones that I'm talking about that we shouldn't talk about, and that alone should tell you what I'm talking about. But you know what I mean. At some point there are a lot of other ways to play a game, and often they are just marketable, like Steam. Steam is an excellent example of reselling games from the past. And before I talk about that, I just want to talk about Nintendo and just big old Nintendo in general, the big N, Super Mario, Zelda, blah blah blah.
Yes, we're going to this part of the topic. Okay.
Yep.
But before we jump into that, can I quickly say something about collectors and having that sort of feeling what you're talking about? Before we jump into the Nintendo, I am sort of semi-collector myself, but not so much as bad as you might think it is. For instance, I recently got all that money from selling my stuff, right? That I mentioned before. Mm-hmm. Well, I started unpacking a few things and started putting my collection together and making my place a little bit nicer. And then I stopped. And I actually sat down on my bed and looked at all my collection before me. And it kind of gave me this feeling of happiness that I can actually go to my games, open them up, and play them whenever I wanted.
Aww.
And, I just sat there looking at everything coming together. I had my Squirtle there, I have my Kirby, I have everything around these games that I play and some of the newer games that I play. And to me, it's like, this is my stuff. Nobody can take my stuff. And I love my stuff. And I have a feeling that wave of happiness is some people wanting that back because that was a part of their collection.
Absolutely.
So when they don't have it anymore, that's why people are willing to pay to get that feeling back or to come close to that feeling.
Come back to their childhood and
their
the nostalgia and all that.
Or yeah, because
I can identify with that.
I mean, if you think back, some of the things you got as a gift probably stand out to you a lot. So like if you got a gift at like a game as a kid, like for instance, let's say Zelda, you got Zelda as a gift and you love that game because it was probably your daddy who gave you that gift. And when you no longer have your daddy like me, that game becomes a sort of remembrance like of your dad. That's a part of your dad. And
it doesn't even have to be a technically good game either.
Yeah,
it could be like your mom gave you SpongeBob when you were a kid, and because of that, even if you're an adult and it doesn't feel as good to you anymore, it's just you play that again, you're like, wow, I remember when I did this, you know?
But here's the drawback. Here's where the drawback comes in. When you buy something from your past and it's up for an exorbitant amount, even if it's something new from your past, I want to say, if you're putting in a lot of money for that, you're also taking it away from somebody who could experience the same joy as you. So,
and you gotta know too, you guys, that things don't matter in life. You know, things make us happy and all that, but in the end, the relationships you make with people and like what you do in life, the bonds you make and how you make a difference, that's really what matters. So it's fine to go and collect stuff that makes you happy. You know, you got money, you can spend it however you feel like you should, as long as you're smart, you take care of yourself and in the meantime. But ultimately, things are nice and things make us happy, but they're not like the ultimate source of joy.
You know, it's funny you say that because I actually experienced something recently. I actually saw a bunch of younger people, probably about child age, maybe like 12, 13 is what I'm talking about. And they were looking at some things that I were interested in. I'm saying like terms of video games and Switch games and whatnot. And they were available to them. And this is what runs through my head when I think of things that I like video games and such. They're making memories. And they're also going to experience something where they're not being upsold something. Like, if you bought a Nintendo game, that was your game. You didn't have to buy anything extra. That was there for you. And you didn't have to worry about it being gone. So, when you have, like, today's market, DLC, that's something you never heard of. Or patches, that's something you never heard of back then. You had a game, you played it, and that was yours. Nobody could take it. It couldn't be deleted. And I think that's something that people are longing for, is that kind of feeling back then too. So, seeing a kid like get interested in something like this, it's heartwarming because they can go back. It's kind of like renting an old library book and seeing someone younger than you read the same book that you liked. And you're like, wait, this will live on. This will live on to something much, much more.
Wow. Exactly, yeah.
Bye, Lemon. Have a good night.
Yeah, see you, Lemon.
So, it's... this runs much deeper than you may think, but someone once said before, the best way to get through something and make it survive is to let someone younger than you come into it and find that enjoy themselves into it. And that connection will last forever. So.
And yeah, that's another cool thing I like about reboots, and something I've thought about recently, is because in this day and age where so much is coming back from like about 10 to 20 years ago, it allows people of the younger generation to experience what we did as kids. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a cartoon, it could be a video game, TV show, and whatnot. It always charms me to look at what we got going on and be like, oh, someone who's like 8 years old can experience this thing that I experienced at that age now. And it's like almost like a time capsule that's being preserved. Seeing all these people, you got like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, you got Advance Wars Reboot Camp, which I'm super excited about, by the way. But all that stuff coming out, and it's just like amazing to see, like, now people who were my age, who are, well, I said it already, but like people like younger generation, they can enjoy what I used to enjoy. Like Super Monkey Ball Mania, that's a perfect example. Like, it's a game that people like our age can enjoy, because we're like up in 20s and whatnot, and we've like played GameCube as a kid. So, but now people get to experience it like again and feel nostalgia, and then like the younger generation gets to experience it for the first time, and it's like new still. It's like new and old at the same time, and it's just like an amalgamation of generations, if I could say, and it's awesome. And I always think about it a lot, and it makes me smile and like think about what kind of childhood they're gonna have now, because they got to experience something that I did.
By the way, I put something on your head a while ago.
I saw that. I'm not watching the stream. I'm watching chat, but the stream isn't loading for me for some reason. But I do see the panda, and I saw someone pointing out in chat. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah, that's the Pokemon.
We got Disney Nerd ask, what did y'all see the new PlayStation showcase? So do you mean like something that happened today, or the one that happened most recently?
The one that happened most recently with PlayStation, with what they were
God
coming
of
out
War
with.
and. I almost completely forgot what happened that day. It was God of War.
To be frank, I haven't seen the new lineup yet, so don't tell me anything now about it. I'm looking forward to it.
All I can say is God of War, because I said it like 5 times already. It was good though. I don't remember distinctly right now because I'm having a little brain fart right now, but it was good. I remember there was a lot of good stuff going on there, so you'll be excited to see. You might be excited to see some stuff.
Okay.
Short but sweet is the best way to put it.
All right. Yes. You were going to talk about Nintendo? The big N?
Yeah, sorry, I was eating some chips. I need something to eat.
Okay, yeah,
absolutely. And this is where it might get a little ranty on my part, but it's because I'm very passionate about this, and I'm kind of like irritated with a lot of stuff that goes on. So take it with a grain of salt, but just Nintendo. Everyone knows who Nintendo is. They got Mario, they got Zelda, they got Metroid and whatnot. And Nintendo, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, honestly, they're kind of killing the retro market, like, for real. It's not a joke. It's not something I'm saying like, oh, I'm just saying because I'm angry at Nintendo, because I like Nintendo. Everybody likes Nintendo. Everyone has a love-hate relationship with Nintendo, but they're killing the retro market, and here's why. And I'm going to give a personal story about this first, because this is one of the things that triggered me recently of why I feel so angry about this.
Okay.
So, as like I said, there's retro game stores. Retro game stores exist to preserve the legacy of anything from the 80s to the 2000s, retro and sub-retro and whatnot.
Even longer before that.
They exist. Yeah, and like just places like that exist. When I was growing up in Georgia, there was this place called Second and Charles, and that is one of the best places. There's not one in my area where I'm at. I'm in like Minnesota, so there's like different stuff going on over here. But Yeah, there was this great place called Second and Charles, and it was like a huge, like I'm not even talking. It was like a little teeny little 30-year-old selling like the games I used to play as a kid. I'm talking. This was like retail, like higher than retail and like Barnes and Noble quality stores that sell GameCube games, SNES games, N64. They had modern stuff too. It was amazing. It was like one of the best places I've ever been to. They sell everything for every platform, all the consoles. They let you test NES and SNES games in the store. It is extremely cool, and I've loved it. I haven't been in ages, but thinking about it is just like, oh. But yeah, stores like this and the smaller stores, which are the most prevalent in like most states or wherever you're at, whatever region you're at. I don't know how that goes on over there, but in the U.S., at the very least, they got these little retro game stores. It's just anybody makes to sell and resell older technology and older games. And some people actually go so far as to refurbish and repair some of the older stuff to make it nicer. And Amazon does that too. I've actually seen Amazon products. People actually refurbish that kind of stuff to make it like it's new, and it's really nice. But yeah, these retro game stores, they exist to resell gaming stuff from those eras. And
what? So this is kind of like
old in the yesteryear. So what happened to me recently is
you kind of cut out.
You want to say anything? Yeah. Oh, did I cut out?
You kind of cut out there at the end. You kind of went dark. I was trying to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was trying to say. So these are kind of like the spirit of Funko Land a little bit, where you can actually try them out before you buy and whatnot, see if they work. That's kind of how
Funko Land?
Yeah, people might know what Funko Land is. So
I do not. I'd like to hear about it before I keep going.
Funko Land was somewhere where you could go in and buy almost any type of game from any cartridge, or any console, I should say. And it was somewhere I loved to go because I could try out the game before I buy it. I could buy it used or I can buy it new, whatever they wanted. And they had newspaper showing you how much it was worth, what they would pay you if you had it, and yeah, everything about it. But then they were bought out by GameStop. So
that is unfortunate.
Yep. So when people would say, "Where do you think you are, Funko Land?" because it was a fun place to be. So
gamer candy store.
Gamer
absolutely,
candy
it's exactly what it feels like. Like for real, like every time you go on, like especially one of the smaller ones, it feels like a gamer candy store because there's just like so much. And awesome analogy to give that. Like if you call it a candy store, it's because you go in there and you know exactly what you're looking for. You remember the stuff. You had the stuff before several times in your life, and you're going in there. You're like, I want that Snickers. I want that Reese's. I know exactly what I'm going in here for. I want those chocolate covered Oreos. I know. I'm craving it. I want it. I'm going in there. I'm looking for it. If they don't have it, I'll be fine. But I'm craving it. But yes, anyway, back to the story. So I went to one recently. There are a couple in my area, and it's kind of hard to get to because I go by bus. I don't drive a lot of it. I take transit a lot of places, so it's a huge step out of my way to go to a retro game store because they're not very like easily accessed to. But I went to one recently, and it was like I think I'd gone to the mall that day because I work there. I work at like Mall of America. And it's pretty awesome, by the way. But I took the transit back from there because I was like buying clothes, I think, or whatever. I was taking the transit home, and I was like, I might as well go to one of these. I wanted to like see what they had. Like, do they have Wii U? Do they have 3DS stuff? Because I got in a new, I'd say new, but it was like a used 3DS, and I was happy to have that back in my life again. But I recently went back. Or not back, but I went to the closest one that was there. I don't remember exactly what it was called. I think it was called Mr. Zeros or something. But either way, I ended up there. It was like in a nice little, an interesting, not too bad little mini mall area. I walked over there, and first off, they were closed. Not because I'd gotten there too late, because they had a power out recently. And I saw the thing, there was a power out there. And as I got there, one of the guys who worked there was actually like right there, like he was about to go to his car or something, and apparently he'd seen me like looking at the door and saying, okay, what do I do now that I've seen the sign? So I started talking with him. I'm like, hey, what do you guys got? Well, first off, I was like talking like hours and like stuff like that, and but then I was asking him, hey, what do you guys got? You got Wii U, you got 3DS and whatnot. And he's like, no, we don't. We have like we got old toys. We got Nintendo. We got PS2 and Xbox. And I'm like, you guys got GameCube? And he's like, nope. We just got we got burglarized recently. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he was like, yep. So we only have a couple GameCubes, a couple memory cards, and that's it. We only got a little bit of that stuff. And I was like, okay, what about Game Boy? And he's like, nope, all of it was gone because of the burglary. And I was like, oh my god, like literally all the Game Boy stuff gone because of that. And the irony of the situation is stuff from that type of era, from PlayStation 2 and Xbox, they had those. I asked him. He said, we got PlayStation 2, we got Xbox. He didn't say anything about, oh, that stuff had been stolen before. Nope. Everything that had been stolen pertaining to that was Nintendo related. And I walked away from that. After I talked to him and said, thank you, have a great day, and I might come back when y'all are open. I walked away from that, and I was like, there is absolutely no coincidence that the stuff that had been stolen was Nintendo related. And here's where the tricky part comes in, and the stuff where I start getting a little irritated. It is Nintendo's fault that burglary happened, and here's why. Because Nintendo,
I wouldn't say it's their fault. They played a part.
Well, not directly, but like you know where I'm getting with this. It's like, I didn't mean to like make it like too extreme. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's so much as they played a part in letting that happen.
Exactly. I didn't mean like, Nintendo like directly did that, but like, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is, it is because Nintendo has made their stuff so scarce that it is driven people to either desperation in either doing stuff like that where they just rob a whole store full of it, or they spend like buttloads of money of it on the internet like we were talking about earlier. So, but here's the reason why Nintendo has contributed to why that retro economy is so bad and why people are doing stuff like this. It's because they haven't resold anything in any form.
Hang on.
They don't put out their games as much digitally. They don't re-release. They don't do all this kind of stuff that a lot of other people do. Like I was going to say, the reason that Xbox, PlayStation is because that stuff isn't as valuable, because PlayStation, Xbox, they're not perfect. They kind of don't resell everything. But for the most part, you will find that, especially in like Xbox subscriptions, and PlayStation Now and whatever the subscriptions are, I forget what the Xbox one is called, but people, they even digitally, they put them on their stores, they put them on their passes, they still resell everything that they had on digital stores and stuff. But Nintendo, they have very, very, very small markets for this kind of stuff, to the point where it's like, now you can only go back to like Wii U and 3DS to even get some of this kind of stuff. And even at that service is going to be discontinued after like 2022. So,
you mind if I say something real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. You mentioned that they didn't release anything. That's not necessarily true. They actually did. If you think about it, a few years ago, we got the NES Classic Edition.
Oh yeah, no. See, I was going to mention that, but go on.
Yeah. What happened was they released only a few of them because they didn't know if it would sell, and I think that's one of the main reasons.
There you go.
I think that's one of the main reasons Nintendo does what they do, is because they don't know if it's going to sell or not. Because they do a lot of things they think they're going to sell a lot of, they are not going to make a profit out of it. Because at the end of the day, Nintendo is a company. whether you like it or not. So they need to make money. So when people made an outcry on the NES Classic Edition, they're like, wait, you actually really want this? And so they actually made more. And you had them out for almost like 2 years. And people really couldn't get rid of them. So
I do apologize if I went a little overboard.
It's okay.
I thought about it.
It's okay.
And it kind of made me a little irritated.
It's okay.
But yeah.
These things happen, and you're very passionate about what you like, but there's also a point where you have to realize, wait a minute, why are we so passionate about this in the first place? Because we like things that connect to who we are as people. Why do we like to play games? We like to play games because it takes us out of our current situation. It puts us in a better one. Nintendo does a good job of doing that. So they sell you something you want or you want to experience. And when they don't provide something that you want and that you experienced before, or you kind of have a little bit of an outcry about it.
Or it can be the exact opposite, where like in cases like Skyward Sword, or like just things where people just port out the game that's the exact same way it used to be, and they put like a huge price tag on it, then people are like, God. Why are you doing this? Nobody asked for this.
I kind of did something about Skyward Sword recently. I bought it.
Go on.
And I bought the Amiibo. Because
you told us.
Yeah, main reason is because I never got to play that game. When it did come out before, I was going through a lot of hard times at the time. In fact, that was probably the year I lost my daddy. And I had a lot of other things on my mind. And when it came out again, I still couldn't be able to play it because I wasn't in a good situation then either. So now that I'm in a better situation, I can actually play it again. So it's
that's nice.
Yeah, but that's just my one instance.
So, I want to finish my thought on that before, but with less bubbling passion, because I feel less angry about it now. Going back on that, I do still kind of feel like, because of the scarcity of like those kind of like it's particularly that era, like I was gonna mention, but before I went into all that, they do sort of do some good stuff. They have the NES Virtual Console, SNES Virtual Console. They made a couple reboots here and there that are actually decent, and some that are above average, but that's where it stops with the current era. That it's just NES and SNES, and because they've stopped there, not just me, but a lot of people are like upset about it, because they used to do it a lot. They had the old Wii U Virtual Console, as I mentioned, where they had just about everything. They had Game Boy Advance, they had NES, SNES, N64. It was all in one thing. And then you went to another generation, and people were like, probably at the time when Switch came out, and they were like, oh, we're going to get even more. We're going to get GameCube. We're going to get all these extra ones. And they absolutely downgraded and went just back to the first two instead of like having anything else. So they're not completely like, bad at the retro market. They had at least the NES and SNES Virtual Console to an extent, especially because recently we haven't gotten too many stellar titles on the NES and SNES that people really remember. Just random like third-party titles that come out at the time that absolutely nobody remembers. That some are fun, but some are just like, eh. But in general, a lot of people are just unhappy with Nintendo because they used to do something and now they don't do it anymore. And it's been trending a lot in Twitter that Nintendo Direct and whatnot, which is coming, by the way. I forgot the date, but I've seen a lot of stuff on going Twitter. There is going to be a Nintendo Direct coming, and it's going to be hopefully pretty exciting. But there's been rumors around that people are going to, we're going to have Game Boy and Game Boy Color Virtual Console. And a lot of people have wanted the GameCube and the Game Boy stuff to come on the Virtual Console as well. So we don't know if it's true or not. We'll have to find out when that comes out. But that's really just basically what people want Nintendo to do right now. And it would help the retro economy a little bit more. Because although the NES and SNES stuff has been going well, there's still a demand. See, whether you're passionate about it, whether you're angry about it or not, there is a demand for this. It is not unreasonable. It is not something that if Nintendo did this, they wouldn't get any money on it. That's not true. Whether you're upset about it or not, there is still a demand for people who do want this stuff, people who want to experience it for the first time, because they hear about it a lot. And they can't do that, so they go to emulators instead. They go to Dolphin, and I'm like, well, if Nintendo is not going to give it to me, I'm going to do this instead. And I think talking about that, I'd watched Intu recently, and he actually made a small little comment on that. He made a little snarky remark on, Nintendo doing something that harms their marketing and whatnot, that they easily could have avoided. That's crazy. And it's like, he was talking about Wario Land and stuff like that, and how games like that had not, because they hadn't put them out there. And because of that, people go to emulators, or they try to get games back, like we were talking about, by paying enormous sums of money and whatnot. So, honestly, because Nintendo hasn't been going into that, people that part of the 2000s-ish era of retro marketing has caused things to rise in value, and that's what I was talking about. I didn't mean to go about it so angrily, but
Okay.
that is legitimately a reason why this stuff is happening, why people are stealing stuff or paying a lot of money for it, because it's that scarce. And Nintendo has not re-released things in any form to alleviate that and make that part better and allow people to experience things like they should be. Like, you get a game digitally, physically, however people want it, and they can play it again or for the first time.
Well, I think a big contributor to what's going on right now is probably the pandemic.
Yeah, that's another thing.
People have been stuck in their homes, and within the last 2, almost 3 years now, the only way you could get entertainment was at home. And we, growing up with video games, have always enjoyed being home playing our games. So when older generations eventually came in and newer generations came in, they're like, well, what can we play? Some people don't have internet. Some people only have what they can get. And usually the best way you can get something is buy a retro game. Like, be it Nintendo is the best source. Or if you're looking for a Genesis, that too. And people back then were like, oh, we can play this without the internet? That's awesome. We can actually have our fun. But when you get more people like that, you start to get more and more demand. And the games...
Yeah, I can identify, if I may say, I can identify with somebody who used to not have internet to do stuff a lot.
Yeah, so
I know the feeling.
You actually have something that you can actually use without all that much interference from the outside world. And then once you get so much of that involved as well from other people who are looking for something simple, not as much technical, you then have a bigger market than you did. And because you have a bigger market, prices go up. And the people who actually lucked out before, where do you think they are now? There's a lot of things that actually kind of, play into things at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's just how life. That's especially with finances and things like just games and desires and supplies and demands. There's always a lot of different factors. Like the things that I've talked about, that's just one thing. But because it's such a major thing, that's why I've been talking about it. It's something that if you look into it, or even if you don't look into it, you just see it going on. If something is so prevalent that everybody's talking about it, then it's an issue. It's a thing that's a problem in gaming or whatnot. So So here is the antidote for this, and one that exists and not something that Nintendo is doing, because obviously we talked about what they could do to sort of like help people to get back to that era. But some people, as I mentioned, they're already doing this. Xbox, PlayStation, and what I wanted to talk about more was Steam. Steam especially is like one of the greatest things that I have ever seen that recollects, puts games out, re-releases, and it doesn't have to be like specific, like you can't put Nintendo stuff on there for obvious reasons, but anything else has been put on that platform in one form or another, and it's still, people are still putting them on there. And it's incredible, like even not just Steam, like Epic Games, any kind of thing where people are putting like digital games on the market, people are able to play these games again in a way that is easy and accessible to most people in this world. Like obviously Trixie said not everybody has internet, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people are able to experience games over again because of Steam. And it's incredible. Like literally I was thinking, could they possibly have like WiiWare era stuff on there? And Trixie was talking. Well, I was talking with Trixie recently about Adventures in Monkey Island. I'm like, is that on Steam? Do you have that? And I'm like, she's like, yeah, I have like a recollection of like. And I was like, well, I was talking to her. I was in her chat at the time, and I was like, I was looking it up like on my phone. I was like, I went on Steam. I'm like, is Monkey Island on Steam? And I'm like,
Yeah.
boom, there it is. And that came out in like the remakes of the games, because it was not a remake, but a reboot, and they were like continuing the chapters. But that game had come out in like 2009, and it was like on WiiWare and stuff, digital only. And that stuff you can't even get on your Wii anymore without like modding it or anything. And that, like at that moment, as I went away from chat and I went online, that kind of blew my mind away that title was now in a form that I could get that Nintendo couldn't give me. And I was starting to look up more. I was like, oh, do they have strong bads, a good game, cool game for attractive people, which is another Telltale kind of game, and it's something that I never experienced as a kid, but it's something I'm getting interested in now. They had that too. They had the entire Strong Bad game on Steam, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Steam is awesome. I can go and play a lot of games that I used to play and ones that I always wanted to play as a kid but didn't have the access to. I can play these games now, and it makes me really happy to think about that. You know, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because there was a lot of things I never got to experience as a kid that I read about. At the time, it was this magazine called Nintendo Power. I read a lot of it, and I saw a lot of games that I was like, I want to play that, I want to play that. We didn't have internet, so I was like, I just have to watch people talk about it or read articles about it.
Yeah.
And also because I just like experiencing my childhood, you know, like Trixie said. Like I want to revisit that period of my time where I had a lot going on, and it just brings back a lot of good memories. When play some old Game Boy games or GameCube and stuff, or play stuff like Chibi Robo that even though I was there when it happened, I was never able to play it. You know, and it's really cool. And another really awesome thing about Steam is there's a lot of like online connectivity on that as well for games from like Xbox 360 type of era where there was like online and stuff. There's like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is an excellent fighting game, and it is still readily available to the public, and it has an active online community because it's on Steam. And it's just stuff like that people put out officially instead of it being like a mod project or an emulation. It's something that exists now, and people can go back and use that kind of stuff when corporations discontinue things. Like even PlayStation and Xbox, they discontinued some of their stuff. PlayStation recently discontinued their Vita and all that kind of stuff for their store. So I'm not saying Nintendo is like the only culprit of like not reselling their stuff or discontinuing their stuff. But I'm saying, like, they could step up their game a little bit, like some people do. Like Xbox, they have a lot of their Xbox 360 titles just available on their Game Pass and whatnot. And I just think, like, it would solve a lot of, like, desires and supply and demand kind of stuff. And honestly kind of change the economy a little bit in the retro gaming stuff.
Yeah.
we had these kind of re-releases.
Stardust Nebula says, I don't really think it's just retro games prices that suffered. Collecting figures like Nendoroid have gone up in price as well. It's pretty much impossible to get the popular figures at the reasonable price after the release. In a way,
that is true. Yeah, a little. Yeah.
I mean, even trying to get to the doors to get something you want at like Nendoroids, because I collect them too. It's kind of difficult. Like, for instance, I don't know if any of you know this, but when Gargura told everybody she was getting a Nendoroid, everybody flipped their lid. I remember waiting that night to get in to buy one, and by the time I refreshed the page, it said, sorry, we're sold out.
Oh my gosh.
Not even 5 minutes in, they were gone. And I was just like, darn it, I missed it. So I was kind of disappointed, but I'm just like, wait a minute. Nendoroid is made by I want to say the thousandth scale. They don't make millions. And I kind of
see. Yeah, exactly. It's like YouTube and stuff that people put out on our YouTube channels. They're like, oh, limited time only. We got a limited stock. And it's because these people aren't like corporations that can pump out these things like really quickly. It's like they have a small team of people that are doing this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Only so many can get made at a time. But they will do re-releases every so often. You just have to keep your eye open. I know one VTuber who actually has like tons and tons and tons of Nendoroids like that. And he never opens them. It's just like, where do you put them? And he's just like, sometimes I just have rooms full of Nendoroids in my collections that I just don't open them. And I'm just like, gosh, wow. How are you able to love everything? You know?
No, exactly. See, it's like the whole debate with how we were talking about the box value and stuff like that, and like if you think if I oftentimes when I get a new Amiibo or something like that, I try to very carefully open the box instead of because I don't want to tear it or something, and what's going through my mind at the time is, what if this is worth $200 later? What if this is worth a lot of money? I want to be careful with this. So I'm gently peeling my nail through the plastic part, and I'm I can't help it though. Because I think about what kind of stuff is sold for a lot of money these days. Yeah. And I'm not a guy who's focused on money. I'm just thinking about dude, what if this is worth a lot of money later? I want to be careful with this.
You know what I say to that? I say to this, why do you have it in the first place? Why did you buy it in the first place? Because you like it. And because you like it, it has value to you. You shouldn't worry about the price. It will jump in a few years. You shouldn't worry about anything that happens in a few years. You should worry about now. You have it now. And if you don't want it later, and if it has no value for you, then you can think about it. But at the moment in time, it's yours. That should be for anything. Because once you actually prove your love and actually have it where you want it because you wanted it, that says a lot. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember my mom telling me, do you know the value of $1, honey? And at first I thought she was crazy. I'm like, yeah, I know the value of $1. But she was trying to tell me, do you understand the value of what you're getting? Does it mean a lot to you, or are you getting it because other people are getting it? Oh, Kami Takashi, thank you for the follow.
Oh, awesome.
So your value means a lot. So for instance, if you have something you love, like for instance, we were listening to Toad saying, he was worried about the price. You shouldn't be worried about the price right then and there. That should be probably the last thing on your mind. When I went and turned in my stuff, I wasn't expecting a lot. I just knew I had to move on. And when they told me the value of it, I didn't realize it. That's probably the value people are willing to put into it. So don't ever feel like something you have has to be, be worried about for later. Keep it how you want to keep it. And even if you don't have any Amiibo, like you, Acer, like you asked, like you, Jack.
Acer?
Yeah.
Acer Jack?
I usually call him Jack. Jack,
Okay.
that doesn't matter. I never had any Amiibo until just recently. And
Same here. Like, really. I only have like 5 right now.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have much of a place to put them either.
Yeah, so that's entirely up to you. I never thought I would ever collect an Amiibo, to be honest, but I found one I liked, and I thought that would actually go well in my life. I don't care if it's worth a lot or not. And, you know, that I feel people kind of put value in things, anything besides retro games or Nendroids or anything. Your value determines the ultimate price. Is it worth it to you? I think people lose sight of that because people all want to be rich. People all want to be, you know, save the thing that could probably save them later in life. But you have to ask yourself deeply, what is it doing for you now? Are you in a much better place now than you were before? And if you weren't, why did you bother? So, because I only have a few games that support Amiibo, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Oh no, dude! I don't even use my Amiibos for like the support and anything. I get them because I like them. You know, like recently, I want to say before Trixie says anything else, I recently got an Amiibo that was extremely hard to get. And I wanted to comment on Stardust Nebula's thing a minute ago, how it was hard to get them just because it was like a limited thing. I talked earlier with in the stream that they're like Amiibos. They're a thing that happens like there's like a window, like a couple of months. You buy this, and if once that window is closed, they don't sell them again. They don't remake them again. That is the thing with Monster Hunter. Within the game Monster Hunter Rise came out in March. And probably like last month, I asked my local GameStop if they even had them anymore, or if they were getting any more. And they said no, we're not selling anymore. They're not making them anymore. And I was very disappointed because I wanted to get some like at the time the game came out. But so
yeah, you
the
only
sequel
got the
to
cat,
that,
didn't you?
Yes, I was going to say that. I was going to mention that just a minute. But the thing is about Monster Hunter, if you're a Monster Hunter fan or if you've like followed Nintendo stuff going on with Switch, the sequel to the Monster Hunter Rise Amiibos for Monster Hunter Stories 2, that is like the predecessor of that, and those also became something because of either scalping or whatever supply and demand problem was at the time. You never know what it could be. They were very highly unavailable, and I went to my GameStop, even at the mall that I was at. It was like a mall GameStop, and it's like they only put their Amiibos on like there's like a big counter. It was like a circular counter with all the computers around it. They have like this one corner of the counter where they put all their Amiibos. There's no Amiibos hanging up everywhere. It's like a pop culture GameStop too, because they have like different different anime and stuff. But they have the corner on the counter. They put all their Amiibos at, and they're all available right there.
Yeah.
And every so often I can go in there and they have like different Amiibos. Like recently, they're like overstocked with like the Zelda Waffling Amiibos, which I find kind of funny because they were like unavailable before, and now they're like Trixie said with the NESs, there's like so many of them now that haven't sold them all. But going back to the Monster Hunter ones, it was like I had this mentality of like, okay, I have this window right here. I lost the Monster Hunter Rise Amiibo one. I don't want to miss this one. Because there was this one Amiibo that I really, really liked. I haven't played Monster Hunter Stories 2, but I've looked at the character. I adore her. I absolutely love her. And it's the cat in the game named Tsukino. And she's like a ninja and ninja cat and all that. And I thought she was really cute. And I was like, okay, so I want this Amiibo. I love this Amiibo. I don't even have the game, but I want it so bad. And so I kept going. Every single time I went to work, I went to GameStop beforehand because it's like a couple stores away from where I work. So I went there like almost every day I went to work. I went to the GameStop like, do they have her? And then I eventually I was starting to lose hope a little bit because I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever going to find one. I can't find one online. And then eventually I started searching Amazon, and I found a Japanese version of her, and it was like I looked up, oh, it's Japanese. Can you still use the Japanese ones on the American Switch? And they was
Yes.
like, yeah, you can use that. It's the exact same thing. It's just the box that's different. And I was like, oh my god, I can actually get this. It actually works with my Switch and everything. But at that point, I didn't care if it worked with my Switch or not. I just liked the character, and I was like, oh gosh, I can actually get this. And I was so excited. You were talking about like how much value it is to me. That was worth $100 to me at that time. I paid like a normal Amiibo price plus shipping and whatnot, but it was like immeasurable. And I actually have her right here with me. I can't show because I don't have a camera or anything, but I actually have her with me right now. And just looking at it just makes me really happy that I was able to like snag that. And it's awesome, you know. You don't have to get it because it gives you a game thing, or it's just a collector thing, or it's something that you can hold and touch and show people that expresses, hey, I like this thing, I like this character. I like and I also kind of like what it can do for me, like what kind of things it could put in the game, but more than that, I like just how it looks. Also, a side note on the Tsukino Amiibo, I found out recently by looking at the bottom of the base, it actually says, it has a logo that says Sanrio. And I immediately, as soon as I saw that, I looked it up, and it said that Tsukino was designed by Sanrio. Like Hello Kitty and all that. And I was like, oh my god! It was so cool that they had, and I was like, I never would have found that out if I hadn't got the Amiibo and looked at the base. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But yeah, dude, don't ever get an Amiibo just because it does something for your game. It's Amiibos are kind of a thing that's just like, it's nice to look at because most of the time the game features aren't really that good. It's not like Skylanders or anything like it used to be in the day. It's like, I like Mario, just get a Mario Amiibo, or I like Little Mac, just go on eBay and find one for like $20 and like express your love for Little Mac by having a little Amiibo of him, That's don't just get it just because it gives you something in the game. Because I used to do that a lot, like with this thing called Build-A-Bear, and it had like you would go in there and you bought a Build-A-Bear like usual, and it gives you like virtual stuff in the game. And I was honestly only exclusively getting them just because they did stuff like that, and it's honestly not very healthy if you're being honest. Like, if it's honestly kind of like a microtransaction, if you ask me. It's like they give you something like a little bonus, and it's like, well, do you want this because you like the character, or are you doing this because it gives you something really cool in the game? And at that point, you're just like spending a lot of money on something that you don't really care about. You should really care about like anything that you buy. You shouldn't just buy it just because it's either worth a lot or it gives you something that it's worth a lot. Unless there are a couple of things like that I can not really think of off the top of my head, but there are some instances where the feature that you get in the game is like worth, oh, you really, really like it. It depends on who you are, but that shouldn't be the sole reason that you purchase most things, if you ask me.
It shouldn't be. It should be something that matters to you. And
also, we finally got Bluetooth for the Switch. Yeah, we did. I was talking to my friend. I'm sorry, Trixie. You can first let Trixie say what she needed to say.
I was gonna say, don't be clouded by, the judgment in your mind. Be guided by the tenderness in your heart, but also think with your head too. Don't just let your heart
absolutely
drag you where you say, oh, I want this, and I'll pay any price.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have a balance of the heart and the mind.
So, yeah, good balance equals a better outcome than you may think. So, that's what I wanted to add to it. To Jack saying we also got Bluetooth for the Switch, I did hear about that. I haven't tested it yet. I've been...
It works, I can assure you.
Yeah.
It was weird. My friend DM'd me and he's like, oh, we got Bluetooth support. And I'm like, how does that even work? Like,
software.
Did they... No, I mean it's so weird because I was like, the technology is in this. Like they didn't have to mod my Switch, or I didn't have to buy a new model for a Switch. How does that even work with a digital? I'm an old man, okay. I'm old. I don't know how this download thingle fangle works, y'all. It was so weird
It's
to me because I got an update that gives me a technical feature on my Switch. I'm like, dude, how does that work? This
it,
newfangled technology is crazy.
I'm guessing it kind of was imported. It was the technology was there, so they actually made it work. I mean, for instance, you have phones these days that can actually talk to older tellers and say, I bought this. And they have no connection to it whatsoever, and yet all they have to do is receive a signal that's similar to that of a phone call that says, okay, you bought it. It's that advanced right now.
It's very bizarre.
You can be
Oh,
surprised with what technology
yeah.
can do. So technology,
I am always surprised every day. I'm surprised that I can stream Twitch on my phone now when I was previously unable to, just straight from my phone. I'm like, wow.
it's
Honestly, talking about that though, it makes me think of like, you know, the most thing people talk about when they talk about like downloadable content and stuff like that. People like they talk about like Sonic 3 and the Sonic and Knuckles, and like I used to say it before I heard people like popularizing the term. Sonic and Knuckles is like the predecessor to DLC and add-on content, and it was like generations before its time, and it's still like it still blows my mind away. And
yeah,
then like even when like at the time I obviously I was like a big GameCube and DS and Wii and stuff like that, and like also I didn't do a lot of online, but when it was like starting toward like the 3DS and like the Wii U era, I was like started hearing about like this kind of like downloadable content kind of stuff, and it was like a very new concept to me. And I was, due to experiences in my life, I wasn't able to experience a lot of what happened in the Wii U and the 3DS area. But looking back on it, I'm and able to like immerse myself in it after that period of time I wasn't able to do it. It still astounds me to think we live in a time that people take for granted, honestly, that we can buy a game, either physical or digital, it doesn't matter which one you do, that after I play it, I can add something brand new to the game that makes the game relevant. It makes the game fresh and new. It adds extra stuff to it, and it happens. I don't have to buy a new disc. I don't have to buy a disc 2 or a chapter 2. It's just like on the same disc that I bought it on. I'm like, dude, I people take it for granted, but me as somebody who grew up with that kind of thing that never existed, it still blows my mind away how we live in an age where we can get something new on a game we've already bought, and it automatically makes it new.
yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, you gain some things, but you also lose a few things as well.
Mm,
I mean, when before a game was tested to the limit, people would try it for hours and hours trying to find things wrong with it, and sometimes it'd be outright delayed for like close to a year because they were trying to still figure out if it would work. And
mm.
you didn't have to worry about patches or DLC or whatnot.
Yeah, you
And
talked about that earlier.
yeah, so it's like, but now you have a game released, sometimes the game won't work. And how do you fix that? Oh, online can fix it. Well, what would happen if we didn't have online capabilities?
Mm.
So,
See, that's the thing I want to say too. It kind of can make developers a little bit lazy. But honestly, with like recent examples being like Cyberpunk, um, Sonic Colors, and obviously those issues were way overblown than people made them out to be. But still, whatever the fact is, this, and also like I would say another example would be like not because it was like horrible, but like Mario Golf Super Rush, they kind of put out a very small game that they were going to put a lot of updates in, and a lot of people were complaining about the fact that people made a very small game and they were quote unquote making up for it by adding more and more updates instead of making a complete released game that had all the content in it. But yeah, what I'm saying is it can kind of make developers a little bit lazy, and they're just like, I don't know what goes on in the development team. I can't like analyze that. But what goes on in my mind and what I end up assuming is, well, because all these bugs and glitches are in the game, there's just like a more like of an opportunity to be like apathetic toward it and be like, well, there's this bug here, but we're not going to really work hard to try and fix it because you can just fix it later. So we could just put the game out like it is. So yeah, exactly. Like it's a bad thing. It's a blessing in disguise. It depends on how you do it, right? But in this day and age where it's more prevalent, it's been around for a while, it can cause a lot of problems too.
It can, but I see it as we can only move forward and try and learn. I mean, that's what humanity is all about. We just learn from our mistakes and continue to move forward. I mean, some people may have an idea or have given up on humanity. I'm just like, don't give up quite yet. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today. A lot of people say nuance is dead, and I think people just don't quite understand the word. It's like, we have a lot of things we didn't have before then, and we take for granted, like you said. How we move forward from this all depends on us. So
exactly. It just depends on how we respond to it. Like, we don't want to respond to it like the people on Sonic Twitter and whatnot did, with Sonic Colors Ultimate. We don't want to end up responding like that and having a lot of negative reception, which is just prevalent just because that's how the world ends up being. But if you have people like me and Trixie and the people that we know that try to, put some positivity out there and try to make things nicer, it ends up being a lot better. And it allows people to have a lot more of a positive mindset. Telling things like they are and telling them with just with as much affection possible and care toward the people that we're interacting with, We don't want to interact like people do when things come out and things don't go our way or a game doesn't actually end up okay. Which honestly, even we can still have the tendency. Even people like us, we can get upset. We're humans. We have emotion. If something gets messed up and we like it a lot, it's natural for something like that to happen. But we want to try as best as possible to avoid like putting that emotion out there.
Yeah.
You got to talk about it with people like that you trust. And it's a lot better than just going out there and screaming at people or screaming at a game developer who might not even hear you, by the way. If you're screaming out at Sega, then they're not always going to hear you on Twitter. They have other people who are screaming at them that they may or may not hear.
Or you might.
You never know, man. It's not going to make a difference.
Or you might end up screaming at a writer who actually takes your comment and makes fun of you. I've seen that happen so many times in Nintendo Power. To me, I would just be like, why?
I remember that kind of thing.
Why is the editor making fun of this person? I know some people say, that they kind of watch the AVGN Nintendo Power episode, but I've
seen it.
I've actually read some of the comments that he didn't talk about in some of these magazines. And I was like, why is that here? Does he know what he's saying? Other people are reading this, right? There was like one comment they said, why couldn't I get in the section? And they actually flat out said, because your comment wasn't good enough. And I was just like, okay, moving on.
I've actually, on that note, in like more modern Nintendo Power of like, I don't remember, it was like probably like 2000, it was like kind of Wii era, I think. But I remember because there was like a kind of a running gag that the Nintendo Power crew they had like a passionate I think it was probably a joke. It was like they had like a passionate hate for like Big the Cat from Sonic Adventure. And it was like a running gag. Like every time there was like Big the Cat in like something in a Sonic article, they would like, oh, we hate Big the Cat, and they make like a joke about it and whatnot. And somebody like complained about it. They like sent a letter to Nintendo Power, and they're like, "Oh, you should be making fun of Big the Cat." Oh, and they like took one of their jokes, which was like it was one that I can't really say because it's kind of like profane a little bit. Not that profane, but like, and they shot that joke back at them. And because they did it, Nintendo Power put it in there and they commented on it. And because they like spelled their username wrong, which I distinctly remembered. You know, like Okami, like Okami Amaterasu, that was their username, and they spelled it wrong. So, and they took that letter, and it was like the complaint and everything, and they responded with, "Oh, Akami Amaterasu, that would be the goddess, but this Akami, whatever, however misspelled, means Big the Cat's mom." It was like,
No.
it was like they were shooting back, like they were like acting as Big the Cat's mom, and they were like roasting him like on the letter column. It was, oh my god, I remember stuff like that, and it's just so funny.
Yeah. I see Matthew hopped in the chat. Matthew actually works at a retro gaming store, so he actually knows firsthand what's going on. I usually talk with him about it, and Matthew is so wise at what he actually says and goes through on a daily basis that he actually deals firsthand on some of the rare items that he sees every day.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, just hearing Matthew talk about, what's going on in current day and age with games just kind of makes me go, and just listen for hours on end.
Yeah, with your hands on your cheeks, like going like,
yeah.
that old you know the Looney Tunes with the little daydreaming boy Ralph with that little derpy little wiggly smile on his face. He's just sitting there like,
Oh yes.
That's the look that Trixie has on her face right now. I saw a Genesis connected with a 32X and CD. Oh, whoa.
Oh, wow. I bet
that
was
is amazing.
A sight.
I was actually talking with my friend about how emulation for CD is like either non-existent or just something that is just like something you can't really find very. So like CD is just so rare in the technology that it would be really hard even just to get the technology to emulate that. But to like find one, how much was it, dude? Like for real, that sounds like really cool. And as I wait for a response, we keep talking. What do we talk about now? We've pretty much covered everything that we experienced concerning the retro market, Amiibos, retro stores, and stuff. We can kind of go anywhere from here now.
It all depends. Some of the retro games that I've seen, some of them I like Nintendo in general, some like NES games that I personally have a connection with because of my daddy. Some of them are still going for like under $10, and there are some sections selling these gems for like $1 a piece. Probably because there's so many of them that people have put in, thinking that they would make a ton of money on.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, like those little you mean those little cases that have like a bunch of like Game Boy games in them? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And people do that on eBay too. They just sell a bunch of their games, and they're just like, here, take all these games for this low price of whatever, And they don't even know how much it's worth. They just put it out there. That's something to think about. Like, wow. You never know, like, what kind of games you could be getting when you get those. And to me, it's interesting because I kind of like those kind of games where they're like either shovelware or like indie games or just those little kind of licensed games I used to play as a kid. Like, what's one I used to play? I can't think of one. I used to play some like Monster Truck games. Sean Palmer, like snowboarding. I had that on Game Boy. Matt Hoffman BMX Game Boy. Just stuff like that. I would pay I'd pay a decent amount of money just to get those cool little type games back, just because I don't have them anymore. I actually did buy a DS Lite once, but in a move that happened, I lost everything. I lost all the games that I bought. I lost the DS Lite and everything because somebody threw my stuff away, and I was
I know that
devastated.
feeling. I know that feeling.
Oh my gosh.
Mega
But
tells
yeah.
me, what do I think of the play of the Saturn? The Sega Saturn?
I can tell you what I think of the Saturn. I really like Sonic R, and it is a very, very unpopular opinion.
For me personally, the Saturn has a lot of games that I would like to play. I
My man Matthew.
I really don't know too much about the Sega Saturn. I would like to know more, but I know the jewel cases are pretty easy to crack for like the Sega Saturn and whatnot. And I was looking at some Sega Saturn stuff today earlier. Their games can go for exorbitant amount of prices. It's crazy. I saw Sonic CD in the retro store. It was up $150 plus. I was like, how can I afford that?
Is that Saturn?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a Saturn version of that?
Yeah, I saw a Sega CD
wow.
Saturn of it. That's what it said, Saturn.
Huh, interesting. I thought only 3D Blast was ported to the Saturn.
I didn't say 3D Blast. I said it was Sonic CD.
Oh no, I'm saying I thought that was the only one that had been ported to the Saturn. CD, you're saying CD was as well?
Yeah, that's what I saw it for.
Interesting. In
fact I like sharing is the Saturn got its name from a project name. Each Sega system is code after a planet. Dreamcast is named after Pluto. Oh dear. No wonder it doesn't exist anymore.
Good one. It did go out with a bang, though. You had the Mr. Sanshiro saving the world before he died epically, saving us all.
Aww.
Oh yeah, I forgot to go back on.
Wait. Are you talking about that guy that beat people up?
Yeah, the Dreamcast spokesperson guy. I had read in Nintendo Power that he sacrificed himself for mankind. And that's when the Dreamcast ended.
No, he survived.
Oh, he did?
He did. In a game, I can't remember what it's called. There's a certain game that actually talks about a certain character you
Project
meet.
X Zone? Is it Project X Zone?
That could be it. He actually talks about how he was...
because I've seen him in that before.
He actually talks about how he used to be like a mascot of sorts for a certain console. And he actually saved people, and he kind of was left for dead. So he kind of doesn't talk about it anymore, but it's supposed to symbolize that he survived. So,
fun fact, the guy actually still exists, and he's still a rock star in Japan. People love him. I've seen stuff of it before. It's really awesome. Also, I forgot to comment on Matthew's thing. He said that the Sega thing alone was like $120. You have to wonder how much the entire thing was for the 32X and the Genesis and the CD.
Okay, we got a somewhat thief in the chat. Michelle the Kitsune kind of took my mask for a few minutes, so... Okay. Someone in chat. You don't get the actual saying. I was just like, okay. But when someone actually steals my mask, I'm like, you little thief.
You little rat.
You little thief. Oh no.
Transformation animation.
Oh no. Mega just... Okay, I'm gonna need a second, okay? Give me a second, everybody.
Alright.
Alright. I'll be right back. Mm-hmm. Give me a second. Okay. Alright, I'll be in a second. Just want to make sure that was on. Okay. Did it come on? I'm back.
Hey!
Hi.
You're smaller than me now.
Yes, much smaller. Surprised that didn't come on. Oh, I know why that didn't work. I had the wrong thing. Okay. Let's see, because what I had on was the power ring. Power ring is like right below you right here. So usually I keep that close to me when something happens like that. So, need a second, hang on. Let's see here. I'm gonna say it's over
I
here.
cannot see the stream at all on my phone. I think it's because I'm using hotspot for my tablet.
Probably. There it is. That's what I'm looking for.
Maybe it's because I have too much in the background. I need to clear all my apps.
It's me. It's me. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Okay. Now it should work. Let's see. Kill it with fire? What are you trying to say, kill it with fire?
What? What are you hinting at?
Some people like this model. Yeah, this is for those of you who don't know, I have another model, so it was redeemed, so I'm here now. If you want me back to my human form, it's also in the thing too, so.
If you have a head pat thing, put a head pat thing over here because here. I'm gonna redeem it right now.
Okay, redeem it.
Here we go. I'm gonna pay you right now, right here on stream.
Okay.
Boom.
It's right over here. I have to grab it. Up. There it is.
Yeah. Good little panda.
All right. That better?
Yep.
Good.
All right. Now, where were we?
We were talking about, from what I remember, you were talking about Sonic R, Sega Saturn.
Yes, we were talking about this whole Saturn, Sega, and all that kind of thing. I kind of wanted to throw in the Saturn thing. Like, not only do I like Sonic R, but I've never really gone. Sometimes I forget that stuff like Nights wasn't on Dreamcast. Like, it was actually on Saturn and whatnot.
It was.
And I've actually never seen an actual Saturn before. Like, I've seen like what a Dreamcast looks like most of the time, and I was actually back in the day when it came out. They actually had Dreamcast at like Toys R Us and stuff, and I'd actually seen like game copies of like Sonic Adventure 2 and stuff like that. And like even though I never got one, it's still interesting to like go back to that memory and be like, I was actually alive when this happened, and I saw all that kind of Dreamcast stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I haven't really gone much into Saturn. The only thing I've only ever seen besides like the obvious Knights and Sonic R and the Sega stuff is this old magazine called Tips and Tricks, which is kind of like Nintendo Power Era. But they had like mostly just modern cheats for a while for for at the time PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and they added more as stuff like Wii and PlayStation 3 and stuff like that had been coming out. But then eventually they started taking a format where they actually started going into like throwback cheat codes and stuff for like PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, and like some of the really older stuff. And it was really interesting because I saw there was like a section for Saturn, and I was actually seeing like the types of games that had come out on Saturn. There was like I saw like Wacky Races. There was a Wacky Races game on the Sega Saturn. I don't even remember. That's like the only one I remember out of looking at that. But that was another thing I really liked to do as like a teenager. Is I liked looking at those cheat codes because it allowed me to, even though I'd never seen these games, I'd never played them before, I'd never even seen like box art of them. I was able to like look up these titles of games that had existed at the time and saw cheat codes and stuff that kind of gave me an idea what the games were like. And it was really interesting when they did that throwback because I got to see a lot of different like PlayStation and Saturn and stuff like that. It was really cool. But that's another thing that comes to mind when I think Saturn is I think of that time when I looked at a lot of those.
I'm wondering if in like things like Wacky Races you could actually play Dick Dastardly.
I do believe there was. I could actually probably just look it up right now
I don't
while
know.
you're talking the topic.
Oh man, Wacky Races when it was playing on like Boomerang or whatnot, I would always root for Dick Dastardly to win. I'm sorry to say, he was my favorite character. It was just like, come on, Dick Dastardly, you can do it. And he always cheated. Anytime he did win, they would give him like a bill or something.
Well, actually, it was a Dreamcast game. Huh, now that I'm looking it up, that's weird. I thought it was Saturn. Still, that is interesting.
But you mentioned also Knights was on the Saturn as well?
Yeah, that was definitely Saturn.
Okay.
It looks like you could play like all the characters in the game. I mean, in the cartoon. I see Penelope Pitstop. I see whatever the name of the hunky dude was. The guy with the big chin.
Yeah, I can't. Wait, that was Dick Dastardly. Dick Dastardly.
No. The hero guy. The guy with the drag racer and the big chin. I forgot his name. Yeah, that's what I've seen screenshots of it.
Yeah, I don't remember him. It's funny. I just remember the villain so much. So.
I mean, yeah. Funnily enough, there was actually a spin-off series of that if you know Boomerang, they actually had they ran it for a really long time. Dick Dastardly and the Flying Squadron was a very, very nice and well written in terms of like humor and stuff. It was a nice cartoon. I really liked it, and it didn't even have any of the other like wacky racist characters. You had Dick Dastardly, obviously you had Nutley, and then you had like I think there was only two. There's like two other characters that they added as part of like the Flying Squadron. It was like this one like bulbous nosed nervous dude. He was like really tall, and he was like most of his outfit was like this huge like coat, like this yellow coat. And then there was another. He was like nervous and stammering all the time. And then there was like another like shorter like stouter dude. He was like he had like hair like the bowl cut that like covers the eyes and whatnot. And he always spoke in like this gibberish in most of his sentences. And like one of the taglines of the show was like every time he said something, Dick Dastardly was like, "What did he say? What did he say?" And then like the nervous guy was always like translating what he said. It was a really, really funny show. It was like I like the dialogue and whatnot. And it was really nice. It was like a spin-off of the Wacky Races because they used Dastardly again. It was really, I liked it a lot. It was pretty cool. I liked Boomerang in general. So since we're talking about retro games, it's honestly and retro stuff in general. It's just nice to talk about that kind of stuff with people who know who were there when it happened.
And we did mention it was a game, so that's why we're talking about it. Disney says, if you could live in any video game, what would it be and why?
I had an answer for that one time, and my answer is going to change now.
It depends. If you're talking about like in that world of the video game, that doesn't restrict you to like the mechanics of the game in general. Like if it was an actual world, that also takes into play as well. But if I was restricted to like the mechanics, like as if I'm playing the game, that also takes into account. So like for instance, if I had to pick a world to live in that I wasn't restricted to mechanics, I would say probably Sonic's world. And that's just
I wonder why.
But if I was restricted to mechanics to like play the game, I would probably say Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That's just my answer.
I can't think of exactly because there's so many of them. Like whenever I have a favorite of anything, I don't ever make like top lists of it. Like I say my favorite video game characters are such and such, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pit from Kid Icarus. I can't ever narrow it down to just one because I'm very passionate, and whenever I put my passion towards something, it's going in a lot of different areas. So instead of like saying like what is my favorite, I'll give like a small rundown of like what I would do and why. An interesting one I would say is the Shibuya in The World Ends With You, just because a lot of like divine stuff happens there, and I'm into that kind of thing. There's like a lot of concepts of like life and death, angels, reapers, and stuff like that, and that kind of thing interests me. So just for that, and just like the kind of influence that people have in that world, I like that. I'd also say Sonic, like Trixie, just because I like the idea of like being in another world and like instead of being a human, I'd be like a Mobian, like she is, and stuff like that.
Oh, what would you look like?
That's a very good question. I am not 100% sure. I wouldn't look like what I look like right now with the human avatar. I would be. I might a little bit because my avatar represents kind of a character that like hops between worlds and looks like every time, like kind of like Kingdom Hearts. Like you go between worlds and you look different in every world. But I don't know what I'd look like. I can't even narrow down the type of animal that I would be. I thought about like a crow or like a raven because that's like my spirit animal, and that means like
something with a beak.
Possibly not just the bird, just the crow in general. I do like birds a lot, but like I just think because a crow is my spirit animal, and whenever I see a crow or a raven, it always speaks to me in ways that it doesn't speak to in other people. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Either be that or like a kitsune or something. I don't know.
Fun.
I'd have to think about it.
Like
maybe
fox.
A phoenix.
That'd be interesting.
Something kind of immortalish, I guess I would say, because my character's kind of like my character's an angel, so like my avatar persona, that is.
Yeah, that's why you have the wings.
Yep. This isn't the form I intend to use often. I do have my main form. My main form is going to be like a toad. Like I have, I've actually asked Trixie, if you guys, probably most of you guys know who Trixie's like YouTuber model or Little Miss Animator. I've actually asked her for like a little commission to have like
mom?
A nice little
my mom
yes, mom, your mom,
my mom who I enjoy and love, the one who gave me life. Yes.
But yeah, she was actually gracious enough to offer me a commission for a toad avatar. like from Mario, and I was really happy because I wanted to make that like. Yeah, I think yeah. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, it's really cool. So, and it was just before she was about to close her commissions too. So I was really happy that I was able to get in before she was done. And
Yeah.
I get to like design, like comment on the design and have it however I want. And I'm really excited because not only is that going to be like my symbol, but it's going to be like it's going to be for everything that I want to try to end up doing. But now that I can Twitch stream, it's something that I want to see if I can implement. And it's definitely what I want to have for like when I end up trying to go into YouTube and content creation and stuff like that. And I'm very happy that I was able to find. And I wanted to support. I wanted to support Trixie's mom because I'd seen what the work she did with a lot of her little family,
Yeah.
and I'd like a lot of the people that she works with. Like I love Trixie. I love Zonic.
Aww.
I love these people like passionately. Like I haven't interacted with all of them, but with what I've seen and the small interactions that I've had and larger ones with Trixie because we've been bonding a lot and I like that. But I like the people that she's been working with. I'm like, hey, if you're supporting these people I like, I want to support you too. And I also, sometime in the future, definitely not near future, but I definitely want to rig the model that I make to be a VTuber thing. That's something for the future, like the way distant future, like after I
Yeah.
start getting some other things going. But I'm very happy that I was able to get that in, and I can't wait to show people what it looks like and whatnot.
Yeah, you actually got really lucky. I contacted Mom the other night and I said, "Hey, can we get started on something?" And she said, "Yeah, I just need a design." And the next day she just had to stop. So I could say it here. Me and her were actually planning a super forum, but
All
yeah,
right.
but that's not happening right now.
Oh,
I'm more concerned on her being safe, being what she needs right now.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, all you guys
mm-hmm,
never ever intrude on somebody who needs to get something done.
mm-hmm,
Ever.
exactly.
Whether they're a content creator, whether they're an artist, people got reasons, mostly good reasons. Sometimes people have bad reasons, but mostly people have good reasons for why they stopped doing something. You got to
Mm-hmm.
give people their space. You got to give people their personal lives. You can't be saying, "Oh, why'd you do this?" or "Oh, I want this anyway." You got to give people their space so they can have time. Because at some point, if you harass people who do stuff like that, or mess with them, or annoy them when they say, "Hey, I need a break," you're not going to get the best from them. You're not
Nope.
going to get what you want from them in the way that you would want it. You have to
Well,
respect people because if you mess up someone's energy, it affects how they want to do things, or if they do things at all, how they present them. If someone's upset, then it's not going to help if people make them more upset. You
well,
got to give people their space.
well, it's more like, we all have lives of our own. We're all trying to fix something together. We're all trying to get
Mm.
places. And we all have to understand that we all have different walks of life that bring us together. So, in when my mom said that, I told her, "Look, whatever you need to do it. Take as long as you need. Um, I'm supporting you all the way, and I don't want you to feel like you're being pressured by me or anyone else. You're important to all of us. So, if my mom watches this later, I wanted to let her know that we all support her, we all love her, and Little Miss Animator does a lot for everybody. And these last few months, she's had her commissions open, and I know a lot of people have been very blessed, gifted, and have been, taken under her. And I'm very thankful she's had that business. In fact, I keep talking about my mom, but she recently got something, I believe, thanks to people that were supporting her. She actually got herself her own Switch. And she actually started playing one of the games she's actually wanted to play for a long time, which was Zelda.
I know how that feels.
So it was, I believe, Breath of the Wild she's wanted to play, and she actually got it. So
Hmm.
all the support that she's been getting. I want to say thank you to all of you who may have gotten something from her, because you actually did something very amazing. She actually got something she wanted in the end, and she's been having experience and learning, and I believe she's very thankful for that. And I'm thankful
Mucho
for it
poggers,
too.
yeah.
So every little bit helps. Like I said, the support people give, you all don't realize what you do. You make people smile. I mean, even you guys being here makes me smile. So just talking with Toad, talking with all of you, asking questions, it makes the day a lot better. So yes, all the love, all the love. And I'm trying to say that in many words. So
Many words? Don't always have to say many words. Sometimes people can say a small amount of words and it means a lot. Depends on who you are. I, for one, try to say a lot of words in a similar way. And sometimes I slip up, but often I try to communicate at least to the best of my ability. As long as people get the idea and people understand my passions, I feel satisfied at the end of the day.
Good. And, everybody's coming in. Thank you for spamming that emote. It seems a lot of people love that emote, so thank you. Thank you.
I know, I do.
Aww. But yeah, I just wanted to mention, just a thank you to everybody here. It's very much appreciated and never forgotten. So, for instance, I recently got some of the support you gave me, and that's being used to actually give me a better computer. So that's where it's going. It's going to have better performance and better for everybody. So yeah, it's going back to all of you who enjoy the streams. So that's what the support does. Don't ever think it goes nowhere.
That's what y'all support toward anything does. Whether you're supporting a Patreon supporter, whether you're spending money on someone's very small indie game. I'm always passionate about this kind of thing. Supporting these kind of people who put passion in what they do. Like Trixie here, who is amazing. I absolutely have loved working with her, and she's been a wonderful friend to me. And just in general, I see a lot of indie developers. I've recently watched a thing called Hub World where they had a whole bunch of them, and it wasn't even a big event. It was very small. There was not too many developers that people would recognize there, except maybe Platonic. And it's just always wonderful to see these very small people, probably not even at the very least 5 to 10 people working on a game. And because there's so few of them, it allows them to interact with the people who interact with their content more. And it's just what I want to do with these people. I want to find every way that I can, because they make a passionate project. They put love into it. They put all their heart and soul into it. And I just want to give to them. I want to be like, dude, do you have a Patreon? Do you have any sort of way that I can finance this? Okay, if you don't have that, I'm going to buy 20 copies of your game, even though I already have it, just to give you the money and support to do that. I love your content so much. And, it does. It makes a difference to people who try to make a positive impact on anything, gaming or streaming and any kind of, media out there. It makes a difference what you put out there, Your $3 could give somebody a Snickers for a time that they're hungry somewhere, You never know. Never know what it's going to do.
Yeah. Support in many forms actually does a lot for people. Oh, I love this music right now. This music takes me back to my dad, watching him play this game. But like I said, support anywhere. You can give it to people. You don't realize what you're doing, but you're actually making the world a better place for that person in many ways than one. And when people are thankful for that support in many ways, and it goes back to you, that means you had a hand in that. You had a hand in that future. So don't ever think your little bit doesn't do anything. It goes somewhere, and maybe it's somewhere for the better.
I'm seeing everyone saying in chat Disney does. What do they mean?
They use the emotes I give out all the time.
Oh, I thought
So
they meant like Disney. Disney does something like the actual Disney company. I was like, what?
the user Disney,
Yes,
Disney Nerd
I figured
725.
that out shortly.
Yeah, they like to use the emotes. They use the heart. They use the cheer. They use
Well, I'm glad.
yeah.
I would use them if I had a subscription to you, which I should do sometime.
Again, I don't
Talking about support.
I don't force anybody to subscribe to me. If you can't subscribe to me, that's fine. Just you being
Yeah,
here is
exactly.
more than enough.
And I like a lot of content creators who do that. You know, a lot of the Hololive people, they do that a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want people spending a lot of money just to see them or just to do something for them. They appreciate whatever they're given, but they definitely like to emphasize the fact that hey, you don't want to spend your life savings supporting me. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
I
this
want you guys
th-
to enjoy what you can, and if you can't do it, opt out of it. You know.
this is the interesting thing that Hololive does, if I can mention it.
Mm.
When people use their money to support them, it's usually to see their comment, and if they don't see their comment, they actually
Uh,
spend another stream looking at the support they were given and actually respond to their comments or their questions. So like you'll see like a super chat reading
yeah,
that they
super
give.
chat ratings. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
literally thinking of those.
The super chat readings are for the people who actually donated to them and they will wait in line to see them answer their question. So that's what
And
they're
that's
there.
very nice.
Yeah, that's what they're there for, is for the people who donated. I mean, you don't have to watch those, but if you actually
Mm.
supported that person and you want to see them respond to you, that's the place they're going to respond to you. So, it's a smart practice. And,
Very smart.
it's something I've considered if I get a lot of people in the audience at some point.
Mm.
But, right now we're a small community. I can answer your questions right now, even if it's free. So don't don't ever feel like, it's needed. I'm gonna try to answer your questions or anything you want to ask of me. And
And that's something to think about with any sort of. Sorry, my Alexa went off.
it's
Um,
okay.
that's something to think about with any sort of content creator. Is there's just like some people don't interact with their fans as much because of the type of content creator they are, but the people who you see that are nice and the people that are doing like putting like positive contribution to the community, um they may want to interact with you, but they just have so much going on in their life, so
Mm-hmm.
much busyness, so much going on in their chat, so many people watching a stream, or so many people commenting on their stuff on Twitter that they just can't answer every single thing. They
Yep.
got to skim through and find the best stuff. And that's something I think about often when I think about how I want to go into that. What if I ever was a content creator of a higher caliber? Um, I want to do my best to interact with the people that watch me and enjoy the stuff that I do. You know, as long as I can, I want to be the kind of person that can at least like someone's comment on Twitter when someone comments. Like I get like 100 comments on a tweet. I want to be like, I want to. If I can't respond to all these, I want to at least like as many of these as possible that I feel like that I enjoy and are sending positivity toward me. And a lot of content creators are like that. They just have so many people going into them at once that they can't go in, they can't interact with them all, and that's they're like a celebrity at that point. They
Well,
can't really
it's at that point,
um
people have to realize that, in general, there's a big audience. And,
mhm.
there are ways to try to get your comment noticed. But
Yeah, that
in the
too.
big end of things, it's just how it is. And I wanted
Yeah,
to answer
exactly.
Matthew's question, Matthew's
Yeah.
comments. Uh, Thank you, Matthew. I'm happy you like seeing my emotes. And I hate missing comments as well, especially when somebody redeems something here and I miss it. I feel so guilty. It's like, I know that's probably something other people here could relate to. You redeem something and the content creator didn't see it. We don't mean to miss it at
Uh-huh.
all. And we feel really guilty afterwards. So, like, for
Yeah.
instance, I've done
That's
that.
exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, for instance,
Sorry.
I redeemed a few things for other content creators, some things that were really expensive for their points, and it never got acted on. But I don't hold it against them at all, because I know they have a huge audience. So it's like, they'll probably look at it before and say, oh, but it happens, you wait, try it again, you know, you're just one part of a big puzzle. That's how I try to see it.
But don't ever feel like with these type of people whom you know are good people and you feel like you could trust them, don't ever feel like you're ignored completely by these people. You're in a crowd and some people are trying to point some people out and give them some love. And if you just think about the type of people like Trixie, like Matthew, they wanna point these people out. They wanna say, you know, I care about you. I'm glad that you're supporting me. There's always going to be those type of content creators that want to do their best to express it, and since we're human, we can only manage so much of it, you know. But we do our best to, you know, give love without, you know, addressing individually. You know, that's like the best thing to do in these types of situations is just to give like genuine thank yous, and a lot of content creators do. Like whether you're a live streamer or whether you're like a regular YouTube content creator, you put out stuff that you clip together and edit. People are, you know, people can give genuine thank yous that, you know, actually give like even for the collective, it feels good because you can feel the genuineness coming from their heart and saying thank you so much for doing this for me, and it's because of you guys that I'm here. You know, you got to look out for that, and you got to always know that, you know, there's going to be people that care about you, and there's going to be people who appreciate the support you give them. Even if they can't thank you individually, it's still there. And the gratefulness and the affection is there.
A good way to put it. I couldn't put it better myself.
Thank you.
But before we stray off to anything else about support or anything else you wanted to add to the retro games fact? Anything at all?
Well, not particularly, but I can say I do like the fact that I've had a 3DS recently. I had a 2DS for the longest time because I hadn't gotten one in like years. I hadn't had a 3DS in years, so like 3 years ago I had a 2DS, and eventually it ended up breaking.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you guys gotta be careful whenever you get a 3DS. Those things, they have a problem with the SD card slot, and if that slot is broken or corrupted in any way, you will completely lose all functionality of being able to use that SD card. So if you have any save data on that, or photos, or entire digital games that are locked on that SD card, you will lose all of that if you're not careful and that thing breaks. And then you might have to even replace the entire SD card slot if that's even possible. Yeah, no. So that happened to me, and I had a slew of digital games on that SD card, and I was in the middle of playing Rhythm Heaven Megamix, and I was like at the like final, like I'd gone through almost the entire game, and I was at like the final world and whatnot on that, and all of a sudden I got an error that said the software is not detected. And it was like an in-game message. It was like the software is not detected, and I was like, "What is wrong with this?" And then within a few minutes, I had found out that the SD card slot wasn't working, and I was like, absolutely devastated that I had lost not only all that progress, but every single digital game that I had on that SD card, and I could not access them for a very long time because I had no money to get a new 3DS. I didn't have a job at the time. It was so bad. But recently, I was able to get a nice used black 3DS, the old, like one of the older models. And I was very happy because not only was I able to get my 3DS back, but I was able to it even had cloud, so I was able to like go back on my old account with that and transfer everything onto the new one. and because I could still turn my 2DS on, I just couldn't do the SD card. But I was able to transfer everything and all my information on it, and I was able to go back to the eShop and get all my games back, and I was very happy. So, and just the 3DS in general, when I play it and I play certain games on it, even though the time was like not even like 5 to 6 years ago, it still brings me to like a period of time in my life where I used to play my 3DS a lot with my sisters. I used to do Street Pass a lot with them. I used to use pass swap notes to them and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And yeah, it's stuff like that, and like remembering the kinds of games that they used to play, and the types that we could play together. And it was, even if it was just like 5 to 6 years ago, it's still nostalgic to me. Like, nostalgic doesn't have to be like 20 to 10 years ago. It can just be like a period of time in life that you remember fondly.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I play my 3DS now and I look at the Street Pass stuff and how much, and there's a lot of new stuff on it too. Like, I haven't played 3DS in so long. I never got to like the Badge Arcade and the stuff they started adding to Street Pass when they started adding like the rail car games and stuff. So I look back and like, oh, not only is this like nostalgic and old and it used to make me think of, but it has all these extra things that I didn't have before. So it's honestly kind of interesting and also kind of sad at the same time, because you know this stuff isn't invested in anymore. You know people aren't walking around with their 3DSs anymore and street passing and stuff. And it's another thing that I kind of am sad about with Nintendo and their progression and how they kind of cut off certain things. They don't have really interesting like facets of their technology where they like put something into something cool like Street Pass or Spot Pass or Miiverse. And it's honestly kind of depressing to me sometimes when I sit and think about like opening my 3DS and seeing all the Street Pass stuff that I can do, and knowing that I can probably never do this again, because not only is it not a thing anymore that 3DSs aren't going around, but also I mentioned before, and I forgot to expand on it, they are actually discontinuing credit card support, and possibly, and a lot of people just still use Nintendo eShop cards and stuff, but they are discontinuing some stuff on the eShop, and it's actually really, really sad. Like, literally, by January 2022, credit card support on the eShop will be discontinued, and it's always sad to me to see these kind of online services discontinued when there's still kind of love still going into them.
Yeah, but
like,
it costs money to run those servers.
Yeah, exactly, and whatnot.
I mean,
but yeah, it just makes me wish that people could still maintain those things and like, you know, like bring back Wii and Wii Online and stuff like that, or Wii U, or Xbox 360. Well, actually, not Xbox 360 Online, because you have the Xbox on the, you know, you have the Xbox passes and old games that you can play on those.
Yeah, but Xbox still has their services online to play their games, which is pretty amazing in a way. So if you have an Xbox, you have access to a lot of stuff already.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'd mentioned that before. 4DS XL. Ha ha. I don't know if we're ever going to get a portable generation after the Switch. It's something people think about it like now that we have a Switch, we have the best of both worlds. Are we going to go from here to go into a super console market again and going back to portable and console separation, or are we going to have like another Switch type thing? It's always something people like think about when they think about Switch. Like, what is the next generation of after Switch going to be like?
I have thought about this over and over and over again. Look at where Switch is right now. A Switch. Everybody wants a Switch. Everybody likes the portability of the game. That's going to affect a lot of things right then and there. So, usually when a good idea happens, like, look back at the past of the Wii. Everybody liked the motion controls, and what did PlayStation and Xbox do? They came out with their own motion control capture kind of a thing. So,
for better or worse.
Yeah, for better or worse, it was a thing that, you know, was hyped up.
Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But you look at this now, you know why the Switch came out for the reason why it did? The main reason why the Switch came out was because Nintendo wanted to compete with the PlayStation Vita. That was back in Japan. So
wow.
They
I
came.
never knew that.
Yep, they released the Switch because they wanted to compete with the PlayStation Vita in Japan. And when that happened, eventually it reached to the shores of America that you could actually put it on your console and take it with you, and people just clicked with it. It was just like, yeah, that's what we want. We want it on our TVs and we want to take it with us. You can't do that with the PlayStation Vita. And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to compete with it. It was just like, yeah, it was a great idea. Let's make it better.
And I just find that crazy because not only like then the Vita was like shortly like discontinued and what they didn't have any more of that thing going on for the marketing, and then because the Switch was a product of an attempted rivalry for that, it ended up being its own thing.
Yep.
And like being like prominent in what it is right now. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could play any new generation game on the Vita back then when it was current. But people used to question, why am I playing this on the Vita when I can just play it on my regular console? And Switch kind of took that and said, let's do something a little bit better with that. Let's make it so we can play our own games on that, and you can play it on your TV. And that's when people started clicking with it, just like, oh, I can actually do that. So the question never really came up, why am I not playing this on my regular PlayStation? It was, oh, it's
But then again,
Nintendo.
doesn't Xbox and PlayStation, they kind of have the thing where you can play their stuff on tablets and mobile too, right?
I don't quite know about that. I mean, I've had a PlayStation 4 and I've never been able to play it like on something else.
Okay. I think Xbox does it though. Someone in chat, if somebody knows, tell us if PlayStation or Xbox does that. But another thing I thought about with retro, because we're still talking about retro, I want to talk about like one more thing on my mind. If nothing else comes on, then we can just either chat or whatever Trixie wants to do. But I just want to say that there's actually talking about the 3DS. There's actually still some communities in 3DS and also Wii U, and there's still like demands for people like buying Wii U's and buying 3DS's, like I did. First off, yes, because people want to get Wii U's and they want to get 3DS's. They want to like buy as many like digital products on the eShop as possible before it's discontinued, which is something I'm actually doing. I want to get a Wii U like sometime before the end of the year, so I can like get stuff like, yeah.
Why a Wii U?
Because this is why. Like, you remember how I was talking about like Virtual Console and how like Wii U was the one that had the biggest stuff of that?
Yeah.
So like I only have a Switch Lite. Like that's all I have right now. Besides the 3DS, I have a Switch Lite, I have a 3DS. I used to have a lot more, but for reasons that would take a long story, I don't have anything but those two consoles right now. So first off, it'd be getting a console back that I used to have, and second off, it's because I want to invest in the Virtual Console and the digital library before it's discontinued, so I can end up experiencing some things that I never got to experience on the Wii U. And also because the Virtual Console library is the biggest it's been, and I want to invest on some games that I can play on that I don't have like a lot of access to. Like there's games like they have like Sin and Punishment, the original N64 and the sequel on Wii, Star Successor. They have those on the Virtual Console. So since I don't have a Wii, and also because I think the original Sin and Punishment on N64, it was only like an exclusive thing on the Wii at the time when Wii had Virtual Console. But since I can get on Wii U, that's probably like the only way I can ever play the game is on the Wii U. And also I could get like Sin and Punishment, the Star Successor, the Wii version, I can get that as well. And there's just a lot of different games that I can get on Wii U that I couldn't get on anything else, that are just like some old retro stuff. So that's why I want to invest in it. I want to like get one by the end of the year and get some stuff off that Virtual Console before the service is discontinued.
Okay. Well, I hope it works out. I mean,
yeah.
I usually see the Wii U at the retro store, and it sells for a lot. So good luck there.
Yeah, no, I understand. I've seen it. I've seen prices from at least like 200 to 400, which is too bad if you ask me.
That's about
like it's something I'm definitely. It's like a thing that I'd save up for and invest into later. But Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know it's like a lot of money, but it's like something. First off, I can't think of any other console that I want to get right now. Like, first off, I don't want to get a GameCube because first off, the game market is extremely expensive, as mentioned, and the only other thing that I think about getting is probably like a Game Boy Micro, simply because it's something I've always wanted to have, and also because Game Boy games aren't really like a giant market compared to the GameCube for some reason, because there was just so many like cartridges that were made, and they're like easy to preserve and stuff like that. But yeah, that's other than just Wii U and Game Boy Micro. That's pretty much all I can think about. But yeah, what I was saying about the whole the community, how there's still a 3DS and Wii U community. First off, it's because people do want to invest in that kind of thing for the Wii U. You wonder why Scott the Waz buys so many Wii U's. It's because first off, it's probably a stocks thing. You know, like he's stocking up on them in case they start becoming like a big selling and collector thing. You know, but it's also could be like reasons like I said, you know, like you want to buy Wii U just because you can play some of the older games that the Switch doesn't have virtual console or digital library for. And one thing I like about the 3DS community in particular is there's, if any of you guys know the game Kid Icarus Uprising, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest games that they released on the 3DS, the community for the online is actually still flourishing right now. Even though the 3DS is kind of dying, there's still kind of an active community of people playing together mode, which is what the online is called. And it's pretty cool actually, and it's honestly a really nice multiplayer experience as well. I used to play it a lot when I was younger, and the 3DS was out. I was like a teenager at that time. But yeah, it's like stuff like that that makes me want to like go back and be like, while it's still there, while it exists, while it's online, I want to get in on that for a while until party till the sun goes down. You know, sun's gonna go down on it eventually, so enjoy it while it's still there. And then even after that, it's still sad to see it go, but like Trixie said, you move on, you adapt to the situations, and like find something new. I can easily go from that to something else. It does make me want another Kid Icarus. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I want another Kid Icarus. I want one on the Switch.
I know.
I want either a reboot. I want a sequel, HD port, Kid Icarus Warriors, anything. I gotta scratch my Kid Icarus itch. And it's really kind of disappointing because Sakurai is the one who created the game and the concept of Kid Icarus Uprising. So since he's working on Smash, there's not really it's going to take a while before he if it's even ever going to be a thing for it to even be in concept and development, just because Sakurai's busy working on Ultimate. And he actually did say once in the interview, he said it's possible for there to be another Kid Icarus Uprising, but it'd be very difficult. And that's like the only thing that fans are clinging on to right now.
Well, whatever happens, whether we do or not, I look forward to it. But
yep, absolutely. I look forward to a lot of things now, like Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania coming out next month. I'm very happy. I pre-ordered a copy, and I'm going to be one of the first in lines for that art book. They said first come, first serve. I'm going to be the first.
Nice. Matthew
answered my question.
Yep.
Yeah, he answered my question about you can stream PlayStation Xbox on your tablet, but it requires a decent internet connection. Yeah, I mean, obviously. But yeah, thank you for telling me that, because I did want to know about that. I've actually seen somebody in my restaurant play on Xbox, like on their tablet, so I was curious about that.
Aww. Well, is that all you would like to add to the whole talk?
As far as I'm concerned, I always have something to say, but I think I've actually run out of things to say this time. until my train of thought gets some coal loaded into the caboose.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just stop it here then with the retro game talk. But if people want to chat, we can chat as well. So
yeah, if you guys, whoever's left y'all here, if y'all want to ask us anything or just talk to us, we are here to talk.
And I we can also talk whatever everybody else wants. Like recently, I got the okay from my boss. In a few weeks, it's actually going to be my birthday. So I'm actually going to spend that day with you, Gal. I don't really have anybody else I'm spending it with. So all my family is out, so I guess I get to spend it with the next best people in the world, you all. So, yeah, I mean, whenever my birthday came around, it was always like, I always spent it with my dad. And my daddy would sometimes give me a game, and we just enjoy playing it together. So, I'm probably going to do that with all of you this time, in remembrance of a special time, and I get to share that special time with you. So, hopefully you get to enjoy that as well. So,
I know I want to enjoy it.
Awesome.
That's going to be there.
One thing I want to add to is I also got Sonic Colors. So I'm interested in playing that at some point as well.
Which version?
The Switch version.
Cool, because they actually put out a patch recently for all the glitches and stuff. You know that already. You told Sonic that already.
Mm-hmm.
Cool beans.
So we'll get to see me play it, and I've never played that game yet. Some of the other games I haven't played yet that I recently got. In fact, if you give me a second, I can grab some of them right now that I have planned later in the radar. So give me a second while I pull them out. Alright, hang on.
Alright. I'll be here eating some Doritos because I'm hungry.
Okay. Hang on. It'll only take a second. Ow. Okay. I am back. Some of the games I'm looking forward to playing, one of them, like I said, is Sonic Colors Ultimate. Haven't played that yet. Next one I got is, I actually bought this at the retro store. You're not gonna believe what it is. Freedom Planet.
Do tell.
I got Freedom Planet.
Dude, what, do you have a physical copy of it?
Yeah, I have a physical copy of it. So
I didn't even know it existed.
It was by Limited Run, and they actually
I know them. I was actually going to mention them sometime in the stream, how they like preserve.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, where you were talking about how people want to play physical games and not internet ones.
Mm-hmm. I got that, and it actually comes with a little, like, 470 card in it, and they actually have a manual in it. So I was pretty happy to get that.
Oh, you say manual and video game in the same sentence. My mind goes back to kid me reading through Super Smash Bros. Melee and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg manuals and absolutely loving them page to page.
The manual's in color, by the way. It's not in black and white, so you get to see everything you need to. Besides, Matthew also has Freedom Planet as well. He's got a physical copy.
I have tried the demo before, and I absolutely love as much as I played, just because of how... it is Sonic inspired, but it is Sonic inspired in a way that doesn't feel like it's a ripoff, and it is absolutely amazing.
I agree. I played a little bit of it as well, a bit of Lilac Story. So it's pretty fun. Another game
I can't say what my favorite indie game is.
Another game I got here is Kirby Star Allies. I haven't played that yet. Another game is Zelda, Skyward Sword. I haven't played that yet. So, like I mentioned, yes, it's Matthew's favorite indie game, Freedom Planet.
I'm trying to think of what my favorite indie game is.
Oh, here it is.
I like Crypto the Necrodancer for sure. Like, absolute gem.
Like I mentioned before,
dungeon crawler, rhythm crawler, I love it.
I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Have you played the first one?
I have not. And
why'd you get the second one first then? Out of curiosity.
I don't think it matters which Xenoblade Chronicles you get. From what I understand.
There's no like chronology that really matters.
No, and
because the interaction in Smash Ultimate that Rex has with Pyra makes me feel like there's some sort of a connection.
That's where,
like the trailer.
Yeah, the character in Smash though, the girl character, she's in Xenoblade Chronicles too.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm trying to think, like, is there a connection there, or is there not?
Well, Shulk is, I believe he's a user, and the girl that we have in Smash, she's a weapon. So,
yeah.
But
then Rex is the blade wielder for Rex, and I mean, not Rex, Pyra and Mithra.
Yeah, I don't know anything like that yet.
I don't know either. I know a lot of Xenoblade nerds in one of my servers, but I've never really actually gone too deep into the lore.
Well, it says here the story is behind Rex. So that's the main character of this one.
Yeah, I know that for sure because I've played Smash and I've seen the character. I like the accents, by the way. I'm like a huge, for me, I'm just weird about accents. Like, if someone has like a really distinct accent, whether it's Australian or British or something like that, I'm usually interested. I'm very interested in it. It's often kind of a thing that I look for in like dating. Not that I've done it too much, but like I just like observe like the intonation and accent and a girl's voice.
Yeah.
I find it attractive sometimes. It's just nice to me.
Aww. Yeah, this is the game I was told I got the deal on, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They said, how much did you pay for it? And it says here I paid about $64 for it. But
I thought you were talking about an older game.
No, it was this game. And behind the tag, it's about 128. So I guess they got that backwards, because when I went to the store today, they said, how much did you pay for it? 64, I said. It was supposed to be 128. So
that doesn't even make any sense. They sell that on the digital market for like way less than that, right?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking wrong?
That's a super good
That's
deal.
on Switch, right?
This actually took a huge drop last week. What do you mean, Matthew? Was it supposed to be a lot more or a lot less?
Yeah, no, we were talking about it early, Matthew. You missed it when she was actually talking about when she got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check my Switch right now because I can't even believe this.
It's a physical.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Copy. It's a physical copy, so it's not like a digital copy at all. Digital, it's.
I always thought like something being sold digitally made it something like a little like, you know what I mean, like less worth of something because it has like there's a market for it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot of the reason that I've expressed things the way I have.
Okay. Yeah, Matthew, I talked to the guy today and he said it should have been $120 still. I got it for 64, so I guess something happened. I have no clue. Next one I got is Super Mario 3D World. So I'm looking forward to playing that with some of my friends, like Matthew and Sonic, at some point. So we're planning a day for that.
That'll be fun.
I also got a lot of Zelda games as well. So that was fun. I saw
we're selling Xenoblade 2 for $120, but it dropped down. It's around $60. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with her, apparently.
Yeah. I got Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, and Breath of the Wild. So at some point,
I got the original Hyrule Warriors thanks to Sonic off the digital store, and it was like on like a crazy ridiculous price because of that one weird. Oh my god, and I love it too. It's a lot more in depth of combat than I thought. I thought the whole game was just like you go through a bunch of armies of enemies and you're just slashing at everything, but there's like a huge element of strategy involved. And I was like, because I really like strategy type games, which is why I'm into Advance Wars and stuff. I was like, wow, this has a lot of strategic depth to it, and I really, really like this type of game. It is often very frustrating and like difficult, but like in a good way, in a way that's like, oh man, I didn't do that right, and I have to like recalculate my strategy to get that right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
I really like strategy types games.
I do like strategy as well.
I'm not really smart, and I often my tactic in a strategy game is to be very offensive, and because I'm like just pushing soldiers or units into something in certain strategy games, I end up like losing a lot because I'm just like pushing a little too hard on the offensive side, and I'm just like, oh god damn it, I messed up. I shouldn't have been focusing on that. I didn't realize that I could be attacked right here.
Yep. Aw. But yeah, that's kind of what I got with my $600 is all these Switch games. And I wanted to play all these titles I didn't get to play years ago and new titles I wanted to play right now. I
Yeah,
look like I'm sleeping.
I feel yeah.
I look like I'm sleeping, so when I go like this, I look like I'm sleeping. But yeah, Matthew, we will plan that for next week. How's that sound to you? So next week we will play Super Mario 3D World next week with Matthew.
I wish I had a copy of the game.
Aww. All the yes.
All the yes.
Yeah.
I have actually. I have. What day do you guys think you're gonna do?
Maybe. Well, we might do a Thursday. That seems to be the day we all do it. But maybe a Sunday.
Yes.
Seems like Thursday and Sunday we play games, so.
I cannot do a Sunday, but whatever works with y'all's schedule, I'm just saying.
It all depends.
Anyway. We all got stuff we gotta do.
Again, I'm completely new at that game, so I don't know what I'm doing yet. A lot of these games I have not played yet, and I just have not had the time. I was going to play them the other night, but that's when I asked Mom, and she's like, I need a design. I was trying to make a design of my super form, but the next day she stopped, so I just kind of said, okay, well, I guess I got some time to play some games.
That do be true. That's what you do. You make your schedule flexible. So if something doesn't happen, you say, "Well, I'm going to do this instead."
Exactly.
And you end up having a good time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I have not gotten any launch titles outside of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate just because of how crazy expensive Switch games are. I really, really want to try like Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Even Splatoon, like particularly Splatoon, because I really like third-person shooters. Mm-hmm. My friend recently showed me like footage of like the snipers in the game, and we were playing Fortnite at the time, and I really like the sniper class kind of stuff in shooters. And he showed me like the sniper class in Splatoon, and I'm like immediately interested because I like the weapon type so much. I was like, dude, I didn't know there were snipers in there. And he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, oh, I want to get now. I really like being a sniper class in shooters because first off, I'm not really good at really close combat and aggression, and particularly stuff like Fortnite, I'm not good at building. So I like having that time and accuracy to like focus for a moment and like focus my reticle for a moment and like having the satisfaction of like getting a shot and like sniping someone out or getting a headshot. I absolutely love like that kind of stuff. And I because of like Kid Icarus Uprising really was the reason that I like really like it a lot, because there was actually a sniper class in that too called there were staffs, and like the further you went away, like the more powerful the weapon is. And there was one like called the flintlock staff that kind of looked like an old-timey rifle. It had like insane amounts of damage depending on how far you went, and it was like a lightning bolt of a shot. And it was stuff like that was just like, oh, this is so satisfying to use. Sadly, gotta go, Matt. Well, I'll see you later, dude. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out, chilling with us.
I hope you have a good stream tonight. And oh, by the way, to all of you who don't know, Matthew introduced his wife.
Oh yeah.
His wife is now a Mobian. And she is a panther. So if you
she's so adorable.
So
I didn't watch her stream, but I saw the stuff on Twitter.
You haven't seen her yet, go check out Matthew's last video, but he's getting ready to stream really soon. So, I don't know if his wife is going to be on this one, but I think it's just going to be just him.
I was gonna watch, but I was like, they were playing WarioWare or Get It Together, and I'm like, I kind of want to save until I actually play the game, so that I don't like spoil myself on anything. Especially like the 9-volt stuff. I'm particularly trying to stay away from those because I like being pleasantly surprised with the kind of stuff they put in that.
Yeah.
Also, Trixie, if I may I plug myself a little here, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right, so whoever you guys you left, I'm not particularly planning on doing something, but I am able to do my own thing on Twitch as well, and I felt like I've said before, I found a function on Twitch that allows you to stream from mobile. Since I only have mobile devices right now, I don't have a PC. I don't really have a place to live, if I'm being honest, but that's being taken care of. But for now, I only have like mobile devices and stuff, and thanks to like a special feature on Twitch, I can actually like stream stuff like directly off my tablet, and I can there's like mobile games that I can do. I can do like certain things where I can play Game Boy Advance games and GameCube stuff and all that. And if y'all want to give me a follow, just click on my thingy name in chat or whatever, and Twitter or whatever. It's all the same name all over the place. Toad7. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Twitch. Support would be appreciated as I make my first endeavors into trying to do Twitch stuff.
Let me give me the link to your
Absolutely.
so
Actually, you mind if I send it in chat?
You can. I'll try and say it's okay. If not, send it to me and I'll link it.
Yeah, I'll just send it to you. So that way it'll be a lot nicer.
Okay, send it to me.
A lot safer.
And I will put it in chat. Dark5 says they've already started following you, so...
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Dark5 is really awesome. He supports everybody. He considers
I very much appreciate the support, dude. I think I've seen you in I think I've seen him in Zonic's chat before.
Yeah, he's in Zonic's chat. He's been in Matthew's chat and a few other places. I see him in a lot of places that are here. So he's a pretty awesome guy. I'll go ahead.
So I DM'd you my link.
There we go.
For anyone else interested.
That is the link to Touchdown's place.
So what I'm planning on doing, if I start streaming, I'm probably going to do Thursdays and Fridays because of work stuff. But I am planning on trying to stream Super Monkey Ball Jr. in anticipation of Banana Blitz not Banana Blitz HD, but Banana Mania, and I might play some Mega Man Powered Up from the PSP because of some stuffs that I can pull out. Thank you, Disney Nerd 725 for the follow. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys sometime. I don't have a schedule plan.
You work that all out sooner than later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I will work that kind of stuff out later. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys following me, and I hope that whatever I put out, you guys enjoy when I put it out. First off, I'm probably gonna go for Monkey Ball. I'm getting an Amazon from Amazon. I'm getting a wireless Bluetooth controller. So once I get that, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable about streaming like GameCube, Game Boy, and all that kind of thing. So because I have buttons. Because I have a tablet, like I said, and I can't really do like the game pads and stuff on there. They're kind of frustrating. So once I get my controller tomorrow, I'll start focusing on what I'm gonna actually do. And I guess I'll put stuff on Twitter. I already do a lot of Twitter anyway. I try to be a Twitter influencer a little bit. But yeah, if you follow my Twitter and whatnot, I'll probably post stuff on there. And I might just drop in on Twitch just for fun, not with unannounced, because I'm not really a scheduled streamer like Trixie is, or any of these other guys that I know.
You know, one thing I've learned about Twitch is you can try to keep a schedule as much as you can.
Yeah, no, I know. Especially after following Zonic and what he said before, like he doesn't even like doing a schedule anymore. He just says, "I'm going to do something," and I definitely don't want to be a schedule dude. I just want to be a guy that says, "Hey guys, I'm going to do this within a couple of days. Check it out on this day when it happens."
Yeah.
Instead of being like planning it all out and being like, "I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I have to plan the entire week to do this," and yeah, I know. I'm very aware that I shouldn't like overwhelm myself with that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you again, guys, so much for like already. I'm very happy that like just by asking and y'all doing it immediately, that means it means a lot to me, like for real, because I'm just starting to get into this kind of thing of where I'm trying to content creation, because it's been kind of hard for me. I've had a very distressed life. I've had a lot of problems. I've not had a job. I've lived alone for a long time, and I don't have the technology or the computers and stuff to like actually produce the kind of content that I want. Like I want to be a YouTuber at the end of the day, and I want to make like retro reviews and stuff, and like honestly kind of want to be like Mr. Beast, like the kind of guy that can like influence people into communities and stuff like that. I don't know how. I have the ambition, I have the passion, as you guys have seen bubbling to the surface. But yeah, I like really like just I really appreciate just I ask and immediately I get some support. So I really appreciate you guys giving me a little, and it means a lot to me just to have that little bit of support. So that slowly I can start getting toward the dream that I want to go towards. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. One step at a time, Toad. I know this is probably your first time actually being on stream than actually people hearing your voice. So it's pretty exciting.
It sure is. It was very exciting. As soon as I saw my avatar next year, I was like, oh my god, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
Honestly, I made a gigantic step as soon as I met you. Honestly, you've been a very good friend and a great support to me, and I really appreciate you.
Aw, you're welcome. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. And luckily, I had a few people help me along the way. And hopefully I can help people on their way too. And it's just passing and helping the community along the way. It's like whenever you decide to jump into a community, there's always someone there that will probably help you one way or another. And the best way you can try and pay that back is doing it for somebody else. No matter how new or how experienced you are, there is somebody going to be there for you. And if you had to do it by yourself, there's going to be at some point where you just don't know what to do. At some point, you're going to ask for help. So everybody has to help someone at some point. So don't ever feel like you're alone. If this is something you want to do, strive for it.
Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it may be hard at first. It's an investment of time, money, and, just your overall well-being. But if it's something you enjoy, you have value in it. And everybody here who decides to stay or be a part of the community, you're all valued. Every one of you. Don't ever think you're not. So. Alright.
Have you ever heard the song Chain of Love? It's a country song.
I haven't, I don't think.
It's an absolute wonderful, like, one of those kind of country songs that, like, tells a story as the lyrics go on. Basically, the whole thing is just, like, this wonderful, like, someone does something for somebody, they pull off on the side of the road, and they help somebody, and then that's somebody who's been helped.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
It's absolutely wonderful. I recommend you guys listen to it. It's an absolute, and it's like at the end of it, you like really feel like what the whole thing was about, and it's just at the first time I ever heard that song, I'm actually tearing up thinking about it again. Oh, it's so beautiful. It made me cry the first time I ever heard it. It's just absolutely beautiful, but the meaning behind it is something that I haven't thought about in a while, but it is, now that I think about it again, it is something that I do want to end up doing in my life. Just don't let the chain, like the moral of the whole thing is don't let the chain of love end with you. Oh, if someone does something for you, you don't just keep it to yourself. You want to give that out, whether it's something physical or something intangible, which are only the most important things are the ones that are intangible. Someone gives you something, you don't keep it to yourself. You give it out. You spread the joy, and it makes the world a better place more than you know.
Yeah. In fact, you mentioning that song and whatnot, I know some people know a little bit about my lore. When I was still stuck in the zoo, I could probably say the zoo was on wheels, and we were stuck for about a year. My mom and dad, they didn't know what they were doing, so we listened to nothing but country music while we were on wheels, and it drove me insane. So I just got tired of hearing country music.
No, I've heard people like that before.
So, because if that's the only music your parents listen to, it just drives you up a wall. And me being a red panda, liking the variety of life, it's just like country music, day in, day out. I just got sick and tired of it. And anytime I try to listen to any of the new age music, my mom and dad would always be like, "Nope, you're not listening to that. It's not what I like." And I couldn't control it. It was just like, no, I want to listen to something I like, because I never really experienced what music was like until I was a little bit older, because I never had that option. I never really had a Walkman. I never really had what do you call it? I want to say an iPod, and now we have the phones that actually carry the music as well. So it was like I never really got to listen to music when I was growing up until I was finally like in, I want to say when I was starting to leave high school. And yeah, I had a lot to experience going into the world without, my mom and dad behind me all the time. So I had a lot of people saying, "Wait, you've never listened to this? It's an old song." It was just like I never really had a stereo to myself. I never really had anything like that until I was a lot older. So it was
That's how I
sad.
feel about. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's how I feel about internet culture a lot. When the people are like, "Wow, why are you into that meme?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm like 3 internet years old. I wasn't able to have my own computer and internet until like 3 years ago. So like Ugandan Knuckles, what are you talking about, dude? I don't care how old that is. I think it's funny. I think it's amusing, and I want to
Sonic
post it."
was talking about that today.
We're like brothers. Like every time he says something, I feel immediately connected with what he has to say, and I can't wait till we get to a point where I can actually interact with him a little bit more. He's an awesome dude. I love him.
Well, all I have to say is just keep being yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't
never gonna stop being myself ever, ever.
Me and Sonic, I want to say Sonic was very. I'm very thankful that me and Sonic became friends, because all I did was just be myself when I watched him, and we just kind of just became friends once we found out I wanted to get to know him, and we had the same mom, and everything just kind of worked out the way it did. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't really say, "Oh, can we be friends?" right off the bat. I didn't say that. All I just said was I was jumping into VTubing because I wanted to do it, and I was thankful that he could show me how he did it. And he just kind of said, "Okay, let's see how it goes." And I kind of started on my own, and he was kind of like, "Okay, I'll watch you from the sidelines, see how you do." I mean, this was just when we were starting to be friends. And eventually about a month went by, and he's like, "You're doing pretty good. I talked to you about some other people, and, I think maybe we have something here." So Sonic is actually a lot bigger than I thought he was.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way.
So
whenever I look at his following and whatnot.
But I didn't really look at numbers. When I see somebody, I don't look at numbers. I look at but the potential to be a friend. And to have a friend, you gotta be a friend. So
exactly.
you can't just go off.
And honestly, what he did for you, you kind of did for me.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a lot bigger than you think. And be thankful. Be thankful for what happens. You know, I'm very thankful for where I'm at right now.
I know I'm thankful right now, like for real.
So, yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But I will say this real quick. Other creators, I should say, I don't know what we started, God. I must have started something because I've been hearing from other people they're planning to go Mobian as well at some point. And I'm just like, oh no, what did I do? I didn't mean for this to happen, but if they want to start it, they can do it. I'm not going to claim responsibility for this at all. So I'm going to let it play out. So
honestly, now that I sit and think about it, I don't think anyone's ever done a Mario-based VTuber before. I might start something, you know?
Who knows?
I might start a trend.
But do what you want to do.
Mario.
Do what you want
No,
to
absolutely. You know, no matter how many friends I make, you know, I'm just glad for the ones I do. I have interacted with Zonic a little bit, and I feel like even with the limited communication that we've had over streams and even a little bit over Twitter, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of that, you know. And we've expressed interest in one another, and I really appreciate it. I honestly, the reason that I've followed him so much is just because of how he reaches out to his little community, and you know, I felt like I'm talking to a friend instead of just some person who's streaming a game that I've never met before. And that's how I felt with you guys, you know? Like, that's why I wanted to get to know you guys more, and why I wanted to get into this little thing more. Like, I do want to do content creation for all my dreams and goals and whatnot, but when I meet people like you guys, it's not just, I want to go up there because, oh, he has 100K subs on Twitch, or, you know, it's not... I see a genuine person, and I don't care how many followers they have. I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know, like, what are they passionate about? Why are they like I talked with you one time, like what your motivations are behind Twitch, and they were interesting and different from mine.
Yeah.
And you know, it's always nice to, if you're getting into this kind of thing where you want to be a content creator, it's nice to find people who in some capacity have the same passion as you do, and are also very good people in the way that they do it, you know? And that's what I look for in people like you guys, like you, like Matthew, like Zonic. And honestly, there's more people, you know? The friends I haven't met yet, the streamers I haven't met yet, people that I can interact with and collab with, and honestly, more than collab, be a friend to, you know? Gotta put friendships higher than collabs, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I try to focus on. I don't want to ride on somebody, take advantage of somebody. I want to be somebody's friend more than anything.
Well, you can get it. You just have to realize that this, you know, this line of hobbyism and, you know, fun has its perks and ups and downs, and if you're willing to accept them, you know, it's all part of the package deal. So Mega says there needs to be a Trixie plush for her to have. It's funny you say that, because Matthew actually said the other day he wants a Matthew plush, and I'm just like, oh no, don't say that. And he's just like, why? Because soon if you get a Matthew plush, Zonic's gonna have to get a plush, and at some point I'm gonna have to get a plush, and then all of a sudden everything comes down the drain and everybody else wants a plush, and I don't know what to do about that point, because I'm not a businesswoman who's savvy enough to actually get all the numbers down, and then I get stressed.
Somebody. You can meet somebody. You know, Game Grumps started out with just 2 dudes, and then they ended up with a lot of people that can manage everything. You never know where it could go.
Yeah.
You never know who you can
Trixie
meet.
Merch Wen, I don't know. When I get maybe a bigger audience, I really don't know. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. I don't know yet. This right now is just a little fun thing I'm doing, and I want it to continue to be fun. If this becomes, if I get a little bit more bigger, maybe I'll start thinking about it so people can enjoy it a little bit more. But until then, you just get me. I'm not gonna be like, oh, my stuff. No, I'm not gonna do that. No, I want to make sure I'm prepared to do it. And when it's gonna be ready, it's ready. Oh, speaking of that, when it's ready. I didn't say anything about this yet. I don't think Zonic talked about it, but we're getting very close to the Discord. Yeah, it's just about done. So I have that right around the corner. I actually talked with him today, and I said, hey, I think we're just about ready. And he
Very excited.
And he said, okay, well, we need to set up a date for it to actually get up, and we need to talk about it some more. So I feel I've done everything I could to get it started, but probably as soon as I open that up, everybody's gonna flood inside because Sonic has a lot of people that wants to be part of his Discord. So it's gonna be big when it happens.
Oh, I can tell.
So I just want to make sure we're ready for that to happen. We couldn't do it earlier, within the month and before in August, because there was just a lot of things going on at the time. So I just said, you know, we're just gonna hold off for now, for safety reasons. And once I feel ready about it, and you're ready about it, then we'll actually release it. It may take a little bit more time, but I just want to make sure everybody's safe with it. And this, you know, whatever we're going through right now, it all will all take care of itself. So, because it's, you know, being with Zonic, I'm happy that we're friends. But when you're friends with somebody, sometimes it comes with a few other details, like there's popularity involved and whatnot, and then you have people who want to be involved in it, and it's just like, okay, we gotta plan a little bit better now. we have to accommodate everybody, so it's something I've never really taken on myself before. So when he actually joked around about it the first time we actually mentioned the Discord, he's like, maybe we could do it together.
I think I was there when that happened.
Yeah, and I was just like, if you want to make it happen, because he was joking about it. I said, if you want to do it, we can, but are you sure? And so I just got started soon after that, and we've just been working on it. We've been adding little bells and whistles to it, actual channels you can actually talk, and actual topics in the right areas, so we're not repeating ourselves. So yeah, that's everything involved. So now we also have Zenko involved. We also had to make place for her as well. So I had to actually get that together, and you wouldn't believe it, but we actually have more people involved by the Discord than we did before. Before it was just me and Sonic. Now it's like we have the Mana Links involved, we have Matthew involved, we have a few other people more involved. I have other, you know, people who wanted to be part of the Discord involved. People I never even thought would be part of the Discord is now involved, who are now just in charge of it.
Tell me the juicy details.
No, not telling you too much about that. So I just want to let people know the Discord is actually being made. So when you asked me about it yesterday, Toad, I was just like, how much do I want to tell him? I don't know. I'll just say it's going...
Did I ask you yesterday?
You asked yesterday, and I just said, oh, it's going okay.
Oh, yeah, I just casually dropped it. I wasn't even, like, committed to it. I was just like, oh, hey, how's it going with that?
Well,
it was so casual that I forgot.
Yeah, but now you know it's actually being worked on, and it's almost done. So it's just about here, and I don't want to say when, because I want to make sure Zonic's ready for it too. I may be ready for it.
Yeah.
but we both have to be ready for it to be released. So
Yeah, honestly, I would avoid a date because at some point, like, sort of like the beginning of the stream, there could something happen that you didn't expect, and you
Yeah.
want to make sure everything's perfect.
Yeah. Well, the other thing was I was in that mentality for the longest time that eventually I just said, I need to just stop worrying about what may happen.
Yeah, that too.
And just learn as we go, because we've never run a Discord
Mm-hmm.
before. I've seen other people run a Discord, so as long as we have an idea what we're doing and what we can do to fix it in that time and place, everything will work out. So, and by the way, me and Zonic are both maintaining this Discord. We've put money in it, we've put resources into it. So
interesting.
It's actually, yeah, it's not a freebie.
It's not your mama's Discord.
Nah, so we've been working hard on it. So I hope when it's ready, hopefully by this month or starting next month, you guys will be able to get to enjoy it. So, yay!
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Trixie, you're gonna get a lot of fan art. That'll be adorable.
Do
you guys have a fan art section?
We do have fan art sections for both of us, so nobody can, overstep one another. And we also
you should add like an extra channel for like just like an other streamers fan art, like just like you and Zonic, and then like other streamers.
We have.
Cool.
We have. There's 3 sections
thought of everything.
to it. We've thought of, we have My Hideout, and we have Zonic's Lair, and then we also have a general section for people who just want to talk about different things as well. So that way it doesn't get out of hand. So
that's neat.
Yeah.
I mean, for the art channel though.
Mm-hmm,
like you have like a section.
Yeah. We have, we have all that. So I don't have everything like set up for like a Patreon or whatnot yet, so we're just going with what we have right now. We'll worry about that later, but until then, everybody is welcome to come in the Discord. We will have it set up so where you have to click on something to actually set a role for you, so that's just for safety reasons.
Yeah,
but
I can picture why that is a safety thing.
Yeah, but other than that, we should be ready soon. That's what I want to say. We have it all sorted out, so...
Excitement is in the air!
Mm-hmm. Very much so. But I wanted to say that before it got out of hand. So, alright. I don't know if there's anything else I want to add right now.
Same here.
So, I'm just gonna end it soon. I will say I will be playing Sonic Colors. Maybe, I want to say hopefully by tonight. Maybe in the next few hours. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I may just rest tonight and play other games.
Yeah, I feel ya.
But I'm gonna stop tonight, and hopefully you'll hear from me in the next day or two what we have planned. So, all right.
And as for me, I do want to see if I can get some stuff doing. I might try to just like do some testing and stuff, just like a little small thing. Just play like a mobile game or something without something that doesn't require a controller. And hopefully tomorrow, I think my controller is already at the store as of right now. Otherwise, I think it comes at like 10 p.m. Central Time. So I may not get it, and I might not be able to do things for a while. So if I can get it tomorrow, I might try streaming the Monkey Ball stuff. Otherwise, it'll probably be like another week, like next Thursday or Friday, before I can start doing stuff. So look, if whatever you guys are left who are following me, I look forward to it. Get hyped. Toad's gonna stream for the first time. Yeah.
Alright, before I go, I want to ask people, is there some place you want to raid? We have a few options here on my list.
Hey.
A few friends of mine are playing Tales of Arise right now.
Such as our dear friend Matthew.
Matthew is. I know another VTuber. They're up and coming right now. Their name is Kitsu Korin. They're not really followed a lot. They're just barely starting. Another one is the Mana Lynx. She's currently doing art. Freight Pro, who raided me the other day, he's currently doing Yakuza 0. Ambipom is doing Valorant. Doki Doki Moon is doing Paper Mario. We have another chatter right now. Artsy Gran Gran is talking. Banshee Boo is doing Dead by Daylight. And another fellow Red Panda is doing Genshin Impact. So, if any one of those sound good, we're gonna go raid one of those. I think people want to go see Matthew. Knowing my chat. Where would chat like to go raid? Would you like to raid Matthew then? Or, yeah, maybe Matthew. People want to raid Matthew. He's just starting. So, alright, we'll do that. Oh, Banshee? Banshee? You want to do Banshee? Okay, we could do Banshee. Banshee's awesome. Banshee's doing Dead by Daylight, so we can also raid him.
Oh, I actually got Dead by Daylight recently, and a friend of mine has been begging for me to play with her, so...
Do you want to raid Banshee then?
Sure. The timing, that's a sign to me. That's destiny.
Okay.
My angelic senses of destiny and prophecy and lining the stars together says that the Dead by Daylight streamer should get the raid.
Okay, we'll go to Banshee Boo then. Alright. Banshee Boo. That should be it. Alright.
Thank you guys so much for the stream, and thank you for supporting me and Trixie. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, or whatever time it is in your time zone.
Alright, everybody. You be good. Have fun. And I love you all. Bye!